and our weekly video segment to take you into the back shelves of your local video store, back where it says horror videos, and where kids are devouring some awful films that we call the video nasties.
Are you freebasing? Inquiring minds want to know.
I have to break free from this culture of mechanical reproductions and the thick incrustations dying on the surface.
Fuck the prime time, bitch!
Mom with the new flesh.
The pain, I can assure you, will be exquisite. As for our deaths, come with me and be immortal.
We have such sights to show you.
Gotta return some videotapes.
Hello, horror hounds, and welcome to the It Slays podcast. I'm your Hudson Bay host, Rowan.
I'm your torn werewolf jawbone, Mike.
It's Gill.
I can't touch, I'm torn.
And it's Willow, horse girl.
This is unhinged already.
And we are back for another one. We are Coltonless, but we've added a special guest. People are just going to start wondering, is Willow Colton and is Colton Willow? Because they're never in
Have
the same
they ever
place
been in the
at
same
once.
room?
No, we know the truth.
It's like the Clark Kent Superman situation.
We've been in the same room plenty of times. He just won't say hi to me at the movies.
Oh, yes, that's right. Although he did give that great explanation a couple episodes ago that he doesn't say hi to anyone, even if they're on the podcast with him every
like me
episode.
Yeah, what I'm gonna do next time is I'm just gonna fling a candy bar at him. Maybe that'll get his attention. Break his Zen concentration at the cinema. But then again, I don't know when the next A24 movie is coming out, so I don't know when that's going to be.
Damn.
You'll have to swing some a little bag of ginger snap cookies at him.
See, that's the plan.
Just look at him. Stare him down. That's all right. I'm sure he'll be back next episode. He always deserves a little rest. He's always working hard on those artworks for Rowan because he's incompetent. He doesn't know how to do that kind of stuff. So, yes, we know what we're going to get into first. What have we been consuming? What have we been watching? What have we been listening to? What have we been reading? In Jill's case, what pornographic material have we been looking at? All that good stuff. But Willow, you're the special guest, which makes me excited because I don't have to sit here and be confused who I asked first last time. So we're just going to let you go.
Okay, cool. Usually when I've done these, I've just zoomed through them. I'm going to try to take a breath this time around and try to take my time with it a bit better. So I watch way too many movies in order for me to go through every single thing that I've watched. So I'm just going to keep this short and sweet. Genuinely, on the last episode, Mike said, I'm having a mental breakdown. I watched 18 movies in 2 weeks, but, that's, normal for me.
Yeah.
So,
that's a Tuesday for you.
Basically, yeah. So, I'll start out with the last movie club experience that I had with Mike and some of our other local friends in town, where we watched Lucio Fulci's City of the Living Dead. And we watched the new 4K of that, and it looks fantastic. The grain levels are super poppin'. I'm a writer. I know how to describe things. They look fantastic. If you haven't seen that movie, it's a surrealistic zombie film where the entire thing is predicated on nightmare logic. It's really, really great gory stuff throughout the entire movie. Mike and myself and everyone in the room was just they really don't make them like this anymore, and they really fucking don't. We were just sitting there the entire time being you know what more horror movies need? A cave, an underground cave in a graveyard. That's what more horror movies need.
Where the graves are upside down on the cave ceiling.
It's tremendous. And there's this necrotic feeling through the entire thing. I know you've been watching a lot of zombie movies lately, Jill. This would be great for you to watch. If
and
you
I just watched Zombie.
Already.
So
yes, you did, yeah.
It's the same kind of vibe, but there's even less plot in this. There's just there's this fucking pervert priest running around who hangs himself, and he haunts the entire film, and everyone is just dying all over the place. It's fantastic. It's such an apocalyptic feel. I love it. And then we followed that up with Takashi Miike's horror musical, The Happiness of the Katakuri's. I think we were all pretty tired at that point, so it wasn't quite as raucous as our as the previous viewing. But if you haven't seen that, like, you kind of know what to expect with Takashi Miike. It's like he always pushes the envelope in one way or another, and in this, it's through the bizarre comedy that he imbues within the horror itself. There's a lot of very un-PC humor in this, and I don't mean that in like a Republican or MAGA sense. I just mean in like moralistically, this is fucked up shit. But like that's what you get. That's what you get with Takashi Miike, and it's a great time. We actually watched that movie with Rowan. I don't remember if Rowan remembers. We showed it to him back when he lived on our beautiful island of Newfoundland. There's this guy in it who is a secret agent for the Queen that you said is like your like idol of masculinity. I remember you saying that because he talks to women and he's just like, fuck me. Like you were like this guy's great.
I don't fully remember it, but I will need to revisit it, definitely.
Yeah, I recall you having a good time with it. So outside of that, I recently watched Alice Mal McKay's newest horror film, The Serpent's Skin, which she's a trans director from Australia. She's made 6 or 7 feature films now, and she's only like 22 years old. She's lovely. Her newest film follows this young trans woman who just moved into town, and she learns she has a psychic connection with a cis woman in town who's a witch, and they go and do all sorts of shit. They fall in love with one another. It's so Buffy. It's so The Craft. Like, I think that you would really love it, Jill. The colors are very bright and vibrant, and it doesn't take itself too seriously, which is fantastic for a trans film because our movies are so fucking loaded with political bullshit. And, like, there's a lot of political stuff in this movie, too, but it's, like, pretty laid back as far as that stuff is concerned. Like, there's one scene in the film when the cis character and the trans character, these two women are in front of a women's bathroom, and there's signage like stapled to the door that says only real women should be allowed in here, and it can be seen in the background. And during that moment, the cis witch is showing her how to take power up from the bottom of her body and point it right into her finger so that it lets out a flame, and it's really fucking hot, and it's great, and I love it. So I would highly recommend The Serpent's Witch if you like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, if you like The Craft, if you like any of that sweet 90s stuff like Charmed. It's great. I also watched Forbidden Fruits at the cinema lately, which, if I had to describe it in 5 words or less, I would say cunt. So
you guys got that in the theater?
Yeah, we did.
Surprisingly.
I was hoping it came here and it didn't, so.
It's hard to find.
Yeah, it played here, and it's no one's watching it, but like I thought it was a ton of fun. Like, it's not particularly well shot, and it's not gonna like go down as like a classic on the level of like some of the movies that it's riffing on, but it's a really good time. Like, the costumes are great, the fashion is great. Lily Reinhart is great in it as this redheaded vixen, just like being a bitch to everybody, but I fucking love her. She's great. I would highly recommend that to Mike and Jill in particular. I think you'd both really love it. I know. Yeah, because I know that you really liked Lisa Frankenstein, which Diablo Cody produced.
I love Diablo Cody.
She produced this too, and it has that kind of feel to it. So I think you would totally vibe with that. So I've also just been like engaging with some older movies too. I recently watched Looking for Mr. Goodbar for the first time. I'm running a series on my Patreon on Diane Keaton, and I've been writing about like what made her such a special actress. And this is a movie that she did in 1977, the same year that she did Annie Hall. But Looking for Mr. Goodbar kind of slipped through the cracks a little bit because Annie Hall was so big by comparison. But Looking for Mr. Goodbar is an erotic thriller, and she plays the lead character in that film. And she is a school teacher by day, like teaching deaf children how to do sign language and stuff. And by night, she is a freewheeling sex maniac who likes to get her rocks off with anyone that she can find. It has a tremendous soundtrack. Mike, tell us about the soundtrack.
Oh my god, it's so cunt. It has like Casey and the Sunshine Band and like 5 million other songs, and it's legendary. And like literally, what is it? It's like over 2.5 hours long, or like two almost. It's a long movie. It's like 220.
Yeah,
and it's like just every probably 4 minutes on average, there will be this amazing like funk or rock or disco song from the late 70s come on that is just an absolute fucking slapper. And I theorize that's for decades why it never came out on like DVD or anything, because there was just 100 excellent songs in it that they could absolutely not get the rights to.
And Donna Summer.
Donna Summer,
it's fantastic.
Yeah.
There's a great scene in the movie in a gay bar, which is wild for 1977. And the queer elements actually come to the surface by the end of the movie. I'm not going to give anything away if anyone wants to watch that, but it recently got a 4K from Vinegar Syndrome, which I assume looks great. So, I didn't watch it on 4K when I did my viewing for the project that I'm undertaking with Diane Keaton, but like it was really illuminating for me because like she's still kind of fidgety and kooky like she normally is, but like she's trying on this new area of acting that she had never done before by like trying to be erotic and sensual in a very serious way. It's very awesome. I really like the movie a lot. It's total Mike canon. Like I wouldn't be shocked like if Mike could somehow like find a way to sneak it into It Slays under the guise of it being a horror movie, because
it is horrific.
It's kind of a sister film to Cruising, but whereas Cruising is like an erotic thriller taking place in the gay
clubs. It's like
clubs,
straight women cruising.
This is like straight women cruising, and it's just as terrifying, if not more, honestly. It's a very fun movie.
And also, Diane Keaton in that movie changed my life because she showed me, because I saw that when I was like quite young, when I was first starting to go to bars and clubs, and she showed me that you can go to a bar and sit down and read a book. I was like, yes, I love this bitch.
And it's so funny, too, because in that movie, the book that she's reading is The Godfather, and she actually starred in The Godfather.
Yeah.
Like, it's like such a drag moment, honestly.
Beautiful.
It's so funny. Yeah. It's great. Yeah, I recently watched... this will be the last one that I talk about, and then I'll throw it to someone else. I also recently watched Hisayasu Sato's Celluloid Nightmares, which is this softcore pornographic film from 1988, which actually takes the plot from Peeping Tom, which you did on the last episode, and applies it to VHS. So there's this killer in Japan who's going around filming his murder victims. And he is going, and so he takes the tape and he deposits it somewhere in Japan, and people are finding these tapes and it's going viral. So people are finding these tapes in the sleaziest places, and it's creating a kind of hysteria around there being like this viral outbreak of murderers in Japan. They're worried about it spreading and this becoming a thing that everyone wants to do. Like everyone has a camcorder at home. They're worried it's going to create a whole thing. And it goes to some deeply strange places towards the end. And the lead cop investigator in the movie is just this cunty woman who just wears like this red trench coat through the entire thing. And it's later revealed that someone tried to kill her by filming her in one of these supposed tapes, and she has like a vendetta against the entire thing. It's total pulp fun. I really loved it. So that'll be it for my movies. I've been reading. I recently finished Grace Byron's Herculon, which is this new horror book about a trans separatist cult. Follows this New York trans woman who goes to live in Indiana with a bunch of other trans people because shit has just gotten so bad everywhere that she only feels safe around other trans people. But upon arrival, she discovers that all of these trans women have made pacts with demons in order to feel safe and be safe and get things corrected about their bodies without the need for surgery. So they tether themselves to a demon, and then suddenly they don't need to have the surgery that they want to have anymore because they wake up and bam, they have breast implants or whatever. But like it coincides around this climactic plot point about one of these trans women wanting to get pregnant. And so one of these trans women does get pregnant, and I'm not going to spoil it, but it taps into everything that is great about like The Exorcist and The Omen and all of that stuff, but through a trans lens. There's a lot in it about conversion therapy. There's a lot in it about what it feels like to be a trans person in the United States right now. It's a very smart book. Grace is a wonderful stylist. It's very funny. It's very sardonic. Because in addition to being a horror book, it's also probably a satire about the trans community itself and the kind of horrible ways that we treat each other when we all get together. And in a way, she's kind of tapping into this idea in horror about like the toxic female friend group in movies like The Craft, which I mentioned earlier. So yeah, it's great. I would super recommend that. As far as listening goes, I'm in a big Prince mood as always, because I've agreed to be on a podcast at the end of the month where I'm going to be talking about Purple Rain and Under the Cherry Moon on the occasion of it being 10 years since Prince passed away. So
oh my God.
Rest in peace, Prince. We love you. We miss you. I'm sure you're in a better place than 2026.
Oh, God.
Ain't that the truth?
All right, so that's about it for me. What have you been up to, Jill?
Well, I watched Shin Godzilla. Been wanting to watch that one for a while. It's been on my list, especially since I love Godzilla -1 so much. That's my favorite Godzilla movie. So yeah, finally watched this one. I had to like pick a night where, you know, you're in the mood to read subtitles for that long.
There's so many subtitles in that movie.
So many. And it's very political. And I think one of the biggest criticisms of that movie is that it is so like bureaucratic and political toned, as opposed to maybe like more character driven in, say, I don't know, -1. But I actually liked that. It is a really long movie, but I think it adds something to it. It's also made by the same person who did Evangelion. So
Yep.
I watched the first episode of that, and I can definitely see the similarities, like the transitions and the music. That was cool. I need to finish watching that. But
you are in for such a ride with Evangelion. It did go some places. Yeah.
I suspect it too. So I'll keep you posted on that journey. But yeah, nothing could have prepared me for the creature design of Shin Godzilla. I wish I could have like recorded my face when it first popped up on the screen, because I was like, my mouth just dropped because I was like, what is this? And there's no way in hell that the rest of the movie it's gonna look like this, because it was kind of goofy to me at first, like with the eyes. The eyes are like gigantic. But it's also so terrifying. Like even with the goofy eyes, and every evolution or form of this Godzilla, he's very scary looking. I think probably the scariest, most malicious, most like vicious and mean looking, but also like acting that Godzilla has ever been from what I've seen. And just like the kind of like gushing like red, I don't know if it's like blood or like lava from like the scales. That was interesting and also terrifying. And I love the purple ray beam. I think that's a really cool addition to it as well. So I really liked it. -1 is still my favorite, but I thought it was a good Godzilla movie.
Trevor has been trying to get y'all to watch the original Godzilla for many years now. Like whenever you do like your Patreon, like not the Patreon pick, but the pick for like your audience choice or whatever, and you do the poll or whatever for the bracket, Trevor always puts Godzilla on it and it never wins, and he's like dying for y'all to see it.
I've seen it. I saw it at the drive-in near me. They had a like Godzilla event in King Kong, and it was really cool. And that was my first time watching it actually, and it was a cool experience. Yeah. But we should do that for poor Trevor. He's like, we owe that to him, I think.
I think he would even do that episode with y'all if you asked him.
Yeah. I think he's like come out of his shell now that he's doing stream screams. Yeah, I think he would. I also watched the other night, we rented Return to Silent Hill. It's too bad Colton's not here because I know he saw it, and I think we have a wide range of how we feel about it. I know Willow is more warmer on it, like she liked it. I know Trevor really liked it.
Yeah, I loved it. I go way back with Silent Hill. I played Silent Hill 2 on the PlayStation 2 back when I actually played video games. I don't really game much anymore because I don't have the time. Yeah. But I love the original. I love Silent Hill 2 on the PlayStation 2. I love Silent Hill 3 also on the PlayStation. And like I'm a big fan of this, but I know that I'm like mostly alone in that opinion. I know that everyone like fucking hates it, but like that's fine. Like I don't care.
You know what? I think it's cool that you like it. I read your review and it made me look at it in a different light. Like you talking about how like intelligent it is, like emotionally with like all the trauma and things like that. I that's probably like the highlight of the movie for me, like those things. I know Colton hated it, and I think Rowan was a little lukewarm on it. I think he gave it an okay or something like that.
Yeah,
he doesn't remember.
I have to look. I feel like I might have gave it an A. I don't know.
You gave it an okay.
Did I? Okay.
You did. Colton gave it an
probably
A.
cusping on that. I respected the swing and the miss for me.
Okay, I gotcha. Yeah, so I did not have high expectations for this because, like Willow said, everyone hated it. I remember when it came out in theaters, people were like getting up and leaving the theater.
Wow.
I think probably everyone had high expectations before it came out. Like, you know, this was the kind of like, we're going back to it and we're going to stick to the game of Silent Hill 2. For this one. So everyone and their mother, I know, like didn't like it for the most part. But for me, I didn't love it either. I really love the first two Silent Hill movies, 2006. I love that one. And I think I'm also in the minority by loving Silent Hill Revelation 3D.
I like that one too.
Okay, nice. Yeah, everyone else hates that one.
Did you know that movie was made by a trans woman?
I did not, but I read your review and
yeah,
I saw the parallels there and I didn't realize. Okay, cool.
Yeah, she made it like six months or something before she came out of the closet. So like it's such a like a I need to come out of the closet movie. I think if you watch it in that way, like it's pretty obvious. Mm-hmm. But I think it also works if you just watch it as a Silent Hill movie. Like I don't know. I just like going to that place in Silent Hill. It's just like I love it. I love the aesthetic of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a bit of an easy lay for Silent Hill.
That's okay. I mean, that's kind of, I feel like that's how it kind of should be, because it's like Silent Hill, the games, and then the movies, especially for 2000s horror, early 2000s horror. That's like my favorite kind of time capsule in horror, and I think that's just like one of the biggest and best ones. And so I really love that first one. Also Revelation. And they did bring back like some of the same things, like the ash, the alarm, or whatever you want to call it. Pyramid Head, I think he looked pretty good.
How was the cake?
The cake, I didn't really see much cake. I just saw a lot of arms, honestly. A lot of arms, yeah. And eyes. They really focused on like his eyes behind the mask, so you can like tell who it is. And if you play the games, then you know. I have never played the games, by the way. I have only watched Anthony play Silent Hill F recently, and I really love watching him play that. And I want to start playing the games. He actually like downloaded Silent Hill 2 on his PlayStation last night, so I'm gonna get into that, and I'll keep you guys posted on that. So I was watching this with him. He's a giant Silent Hill fan as well. He was really upset too by this movie because he really wanted something that stuck to Silent Hill 2, I think, and it just like did deliver in that way. And I don't want to like give spoilers, so you know, there's some things that are quite a big departure from the source material, I will say. Probably the biggest crime for me for this movie is what they did to the nurses. My favorite things about Silent Hill are, number one, Pyramid Head, obviously, and two, the nurses. By Panic. And the nurses.
The two genders, Pyramid Head and nurse.
Yeah, actually on the back of my shirt, I don't know if you can see, but I have both of them.
Oh, hilarious. Of course.
So,
yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah. So the nurses, typically they have that like gauze, kind of the bloody gauze over their face. Here they made the interesting choice of giving them like these creepy kind of porcelain faces with hollowed out holes in it. So I was like kind of confused when I first saw it. And there was like a giant army of them too. And I was like, okay, we got a lot of these. Because I feel like if you have just like a couple of nurses, like in the first movie, they're used pretty effectively and they are terrifying that way. Just like the movements of them, and they're like hard to kill and hard to deal with. I feel like this movie, making them porcelain, they're very easy to kind of deal with and kill. And that just like, I did not like that. That was my least favorite part about the movie, honestly. I don't know if that's like a common complaint about that. I haven't really looked into it, but yeah, they...
To me, it was just like, well, I think that first Silent Hill movie is still just like underrated on how much of a banger it actually is. And to me, for the nurses and Pyramid Head, I just thought, to me, I liked the nurse and the Pyramid Head. I liked both from the original more so than I did this, but I just thought it was choreographed way better. Like especially after seeing like some of the behind the scenes stuff on that original Silent Hill movie, like I love the guy that played Pyramid Head in that, and just like the choreography that was done for it. Like it was very like ballet and like dance involved, where this one to me was just a little more of like a CGI blob mess type thing going on.
For what it's worth, the production on this was a disaster.
Yeah.
Like it took many years to get this off the ground, and it's not his director's cut either. Like it's missing like 15 minutes based on what I've read. So it's a compromised object. It should be noted though that all of the techniques that were used in Silent Hill 2006 are done in this one too. It's just that there's less money on this movie compared to 2006, so if it does look worse, it's a production problem mostly. I think that's kind of out of Christoph Gantz's hands. Like he did his best. Like this, honestly, this movie probably should not have been greenlit until after the remake of the game came out. This movie was in production prior to Silent Hill becoming a hot property again. So it kind of went through this odd sort of lifespan where like Silent Hill was kind of forgotten a little bit, and then the remake of Silent Hill 2 came out, and then this movie came out in the aftermath of that, but it didn't have the money that would have like that it probably should have had, considering that Silent Hill 2 is like this like popular product again.
Yeah.
And that makes sense, because I know when me and Colton did it for Now Slain, like we didn't have any info on it at the time, but that was what we said, is it kind of seemed like a compromised movie where we were just kind of like there was stuff we were very confused at.
You know what it honestly reminds me of? When Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 came out, it's the same exact situation where like the movie came out and then the director said, this is not actually the movie that I made. In Rob Zombie's case, Harvey Weinstein took it from him and recut it. His Halloween 2 is missing like 20 minutes of footage. Eventually the director's cut came out, and I consider that version of the movie a masterpiece. But I think the theatrical cut sucks. And I think I honestly get like a really similar feeling here with Return to Silent Hill. So I think if we do see a director's cut at some point in the future, I do think the people that hate the movie are maybe going to come back to it and be a little bit kinder to it, even if they don't like it as much as 2006. So we'll see. We'll see. We can hope.
Hopefully.
I like it as is. As is, but you know, I know that like most people don't.
Yeah. No, that would be great. I would like that. But yeah, apart from that, there's just like some CGI that I didn't like. The beginning I thought was kind of like Hallmarky. I was like, is this a Hallmark movie or is this a Silent Hill movie? And I don't even want to talk about the ending, but yeah, I was not happy with it. So then the last thing that I watched, Willow, you're the only person on my Letterboxd who you haven't seen it, but you have it on your want to watch list.
Okay.
And we got this at me and Anthony. We went to Monster Mania Con not too long ago. We went to the Vinegar Syndrome table. We picked up a movie called Twin Cheeks. I think it's Who Killed the Homecoming King.
Yeah, I've been wanting to watch that for a long time, and I've been wanting to watch it with Mike specifically, and I haven't seen it.
You have seen it?
I have not.
Okay, sorry. Sorry.
Yeah, I want to watch it with Mike specifically.
With me.
Yeah.
You should. I had some friends over last night. We put this on probably too late in the night to put it on. It's actually not that long. It's only like, I think it's less than an hour or something like that. But so Anthony, big Twin Peaks fan, we went to this table.
I thought you were going to call him Big Twink. I'm like, oh.
I misspoke.
Anthony,
or did I?
Big Twink.
Or did I?
Oh.
Oop.
Spilling.
Hope he doesn't listen to this. Anyways, we get to the table. He picks it. He like makes a beeline to it, picks it up, and is like, what the fuck is this? And the guy at the table is like delighted, and he's really selling this thing. He's like, this is the best thing ever. It's like if John Waters and David Lynch had a baby. So he bought it immediately, and we've been waiting for like the right time to put it on. And last night was when we put it on at like midnight. And yep, what a film. I really don't know what to say about it. It's like, it's basically softcore. I don't even know if it's not softcore. It's gay porn, with slight parody of Twin Peaks and just some stuff that I really couldn't follow because it's kind of like an art student project. That's like the best way I can describe it. There's just like subtitles everywhere and they like don't fit on the screen. It's just like, it's crazy. If you're on a substance, I think this might be, or like drinking, I think this might be a good one to watch. It's a good conversation piece. I don't even want to like rate it or anything because I don't think I can. It was an experience. So looking forward to you guys watching that and get back to me, please.
Absolutely.
And then last thing, I read a book. It's called Shy Girl by Mia Ballard. So I've talked about Mia Ballard's books on the podcast before. I've read 2 of the other books she has, We All Rot Eventually and Sugar. And they both follow female protagonist characters who are psychopaths, serial killers. And it's very much like feminine rage, good for her type of stories, and that's what I'm into. I really like them. I know she gets bullied on the internet, and I know she took down, like she unpublished We All Rot Eventually because people were just like being really mean to her online. I don't know why, because I really like her writing. I don't know if it says anything about my taste or if just people, it's just not some people's cup of tea and they read it and they hate it. But Shy Girl, very interesting situation happening right now. It was supposed to be published this month, I think at the end of this month. The publisher actually just canceled it because there are AI allegations. And so the other 2 books that I've read by her, I didn't think there were any, like, it didn't seem like AI to me, so I don't know where this is coming from. I read Shy Girl. I tried to get my hands on a copy. I had this pre-ordered, by the way, and then it got canceled. So I tried to buy a copy from the UK because this was previously released in the UK. So there are some copies around. I tried to buy it from the UK, and long story short, I didn't get it. So I had to read this through like via a PDF file, and I still don't get any AI vibes. Like, I don't know where this is coming from. I don't know why people are like, this is AI slop, and complaining about it to the point where it's not even going to be published anymore. I think Mia Ballard has come out and said, I think maybe the editor like ran it through AI to edit it. And I do not condone using AI in art, writing, literature at all. But I like her books. This wasn't my favorite of her books. This was probably my least favorite. But it still like wasn't bad. So I don't really know what's going on there. And like, she's bullied to the point now where she has totally like erased her social media presence. She's gone. She's in a mental institution right now because things are like going so terribly for her. So, and I feel like because she's a woman, I'm going to say, I really think this wouldn't happen to like a male author. I feel like she gets like extra bullied because she is a woman. So,
I mean, if she's a woman online, that's unfortunately like the default.
And I really liked her writing, and now I don't know if she's ever going to like write anything again. So it sucks. But Shy Girl,
that's okay. Her editor will just get AI to write one like her.
Oh my god, no!
I'm kidding.
But Shy Girl, it was fine. Like, it just wasn't as good like as her other books. It's about this girl who loses her job. She's unemployed. She becomes destitute, so she signs up for this sugar daddy website. She meets this guy who arranges this contract for her, and he wants her to be his pet dog, essentially. And then he holds her against her will, and that's all I'm going to say. Shit pops off from there. It's very much like Good Boy, not the Good Boy that's like making its rounds right now. The Good Boy that I talked about like months back. It's a European movie about like kind of the same thing about this guy who takes people hostage and makes them be their pet dog. Like very similar.
As one does.
As one does. So that
just sounds like Baby Girl, but anyway.
So not really, but sort of. I mean, if Baby Girl were more graphic, yeah. If Baby Girl went there, then yeah. But I feel like Baby Girl didn't. I wanted Baby Girl to go. I wanted to get like grosser and dirtier. I still love it, but yeah. And that's all I've been up to. I feel like I've been gabbing, dude. I'm like warm. I'm sweating. I need to crack open a window. Rowan, what have you been up to?
Losing at fantasy basketball.
Yeah, losing it. We'll see.
Pay attention.
Losing right now, but I'm on the come up. I just feel it in my bones. Yeah, I've been watching some stuff. So, been watching like a little bit of TV, which is abnormal for me, I think, a bit. So, of course, me and X, every time the new season comes out, we're currently watching Love on a Spectrum because we love that show.
Ooh, I'm watching that too. The new season?
New season. Just a banger. It's so good. And, you know, as parents of kid on the spectrum, it's just funny because we're just like, oh my God, this is our child. And yeah, so that's pretty much like TV I'm watching. I did get a chance, speaking of Netflix, to check out their like new true crime documentary, The Predator Seville. And it's pretty good. I don't know, you know, they're all the same. I feel like the Netflix true crime docs have really just mastered the like put a subject into our AI and we'll just like shoot it, script it exactly the same every time. But like this was interesting. It was about like a tourist guide in like from Spain or something, and he basically was like drugging and assaulting American like students that would like visit there for like, you know, they graduate or they're in university and they'd go tour for a year, and he would assault them basically. And basically one girl just basically started getting her memory back of the assault and decided to do something about it, and just like herself just like private detective the shit for like a year and basically like took this guy to court. Yeah, it was pretty impressive on her end, and I won't say what happened so you can watch it and all that stuff, but it was like semi-interesting watch. You know, it's one of those things where you're just like, you're relaxing and you're like, you know, I'm on my phone, I'm like half listening to it and all that good stuff. From there, I'll just bring up the brief things that, as always, that I'm not going to tell you about because they're horror movies and who knows, right, in the future. First, you can hear me and Colton. We have it now, Slain. It's already out on They Will Kill You. So you can go listen to that, and you can hear all about Rowan texting Colton in the movie theater while it was playing, trying to convince him that this film was a Russian psyop on North America. So, yeah, you can hear our thoughts about that. I checked out Cure, because I had never seen it. We watched it at work.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, so check that out. Also saw The Dead Zone.
There's only a couple of movies that I actually find scary. Like, I don't get scared watching horror movies, really. Cure is one of them that actually does freak me out. I love Cure so much.
Yeah. Well, I'll never say unless I'm on an episode about it. But
oh my God.
Yeah, I checked that out. Also checked out the Dead Zone movie. I didn't know
classic
the Cronenberg?
one?
Like the Cronenberg one.
Okay. Nice.
This was at work. We were kind of on like a kick. So watched that. Also checked out Jacob's Ladder and Scanners, and also,
another banger.
Also, Naked Lunch.
What a week, Rowan.
Yeah, I'm like, Ro's actually watching good movies. What the fuck? Are you dying? Do you have like a month to live?
You're just trying to get all the good movies you haven't seen in before you die.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't like to spoil it for any future episodes, so I won't say what one of those I've seen before. Might be a couple I've seen before, a couple I haven't. Also checked out Body Cam. which is like the new Shudder found footage by Brandon Christensen. So I checked that out. We didn't do a Now Slain on it, but I feel like we'll probably talk about it at the end of the year, so I won't really say anything about that. I did do a couple rewatches, so I'll just say what I watched, because I won't talk about it. I've talked about it before.
Can I interject for 1 second?
Yeah.
Did you watch Dream Lover?
So that's on my docket.
Bro!
I know, it's on my docket for tonight. So I messaged Mike, and I was like, hey, I need a movie to watch right now in the middle of the night, and he gave me Dream Lover, and I said, perfect. And then next thing I know, I was waking up in a pile of spit, and it was like 8 hours later, and I was asleep. And so I did say,
I was so excited. Ro literally messaged me and like knew my niche.
Yeah, I
and
really
he was like, give me a Tubi erotic thriller to watch. And I was like, let me go on my 700 long list of what's on Tubi.
So when you get up at 4 a.m., I'm sure I'll send you a message like, hey, I've watched this.
Okay.
My plan is to watch it tonight. So yeah, did a rewatch of Freddy Got Fingered, which is always fantastic. Let's be honest here. Shout out to Tom Green. And then a rewatch, I've never talked about it before, but rewatched The Sasquatch Gang, which is like a Justin Long. I feel like it's really hard to find. Like the only place I could find to watch it was on YouTube. And this essentially, it's like the same writers, I think, like guys that had stuff to do with Napoleon Dynamite. And this is like very shortly after. There's a cameo by, I don't know his name, but you know, the guy that plays Napoleon Dynamite. The guy that plays Napoleon Dynamite's uncle is in this. And it's basically about like D&D LARPing nerds that think Sasquatch has been in their town, and they're trying to get a Bigfoot expert to come check it out. The Bigfoot expert is played by Carl Weathers, and Justin Long plays their next door neighbor, and he's just like this short sleeve, like Pantera shirt, mullet dirtbag that drives like a Pontiac Trans Am, and all he does is like eat chicken nuggets and bully D&D nerds. And it's like one of my all-time favorite Justin Long performances. It's just so funny, and it's pretty good. I hadn't seen this since I was like younger. It's definitely not like the best movie, but for like something I turned on late at night, it was kind of funny. Also did a rewatch of Kingpin, because I hadn't seen that in so long, like the Woody Harrelson Farley Brothers bowling comedy, which I feel is like kind of underrated. I see that there's like a 4K of it out now. I might have to get, but yeah. And I'll be honest, on the rewatch, I feel like it was funnier in my head, nostalgia wise. Woody Harrelson's really good in it, but it doesn't hum like There's Something About Mary or Dumb and Dumber. Like those ones are just kind of like a joke a minute, where this one, I think they almost put too much non-funny story in it, and I just thought it was kind of mediocre.
You said no plot, all jokes.
Yeah. That's what you need. And then also rewatch the original Speed, because my buddy at work had never saw it. So we were like, what's something we can just like bang out? And of course,
good old Sandy Bullock.
And of course, I'm like, Speed. I'm like, how long can Speed be? Like an hour and 20 minutes? And then I look, it's almost 2 hours. I forgot it was like it's like one of those movies, it's a banger, but I'm like, it's also one of those movies that like could end like 4 different times.
Yeah.
And they just keep it going. It's like, nope, let's just keep the good times rolling. And yeah, so timer. It's all right. I already. Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not even gonna edit it out. All the listeners, I'm just letting you know my timer went off. I got serious fantasy things. I'm trying to beat Willow. It's gonna happen. We'll keep you updated.
Also, I just want to state for the record, I'm not doing that. I set my team earlier. I'm not checking it while we're doing this podcast because I respect this podcast. I didn't want to be distracted.
Oh my god!
Throwing down the gauntlet. Fighting words.
Just fighting words against me. That's okay. Whatever. Yeah, so stuff that I can kind of talk about that I checked out. I checked out another bad kind of like docu-series called Thirst Trap, The Fame, The Fantasy, The Fallout. This is like this is like a Mike doc. Like if you just want pure trash it was on Amazon, and I'm being very lenient calling it a documentary because there's really not much of like a climax or anything to it. It's about some guy that's like, I don't know what his name is, like Whitey18 or something. He was a TikTok star from Canada that, like, I don't know, he looks like a hockey bro to me, but basically build this huge fan base of like 50-plus-year-old women and like mothers that just like very unhealthily were like obsessed with like saving all of his TikToks and like, you know, he'd like wink and lip sync 80 songs with his shirt off and stuff. And he built this following that essentially just like paid him PayPal money, like, you know, to the tune of like $30,000 a month. And,
oh my God.
You know, it's how you expect these, you know, he meets these mothers' places, just bangs them and stuff. But it's like one of those things where you're like, oh, this is getting real scandalous. And then it's just not really. It's just like, it's just one of those things that just kind of ends. It's like, no, it's just kind of whatever. No one really cares. And yeah, it's just about a guy that makes a bunch of money off of like lonely moms that are thirst trapping a like 18, 19-year-old guy.
So it's like you at Subway.
Tale as old as
moms.
time.
Yeah, that's right. Just, I that's why I just fully understood it. I understood what he was going through. Got a chance, finally, to check out, Pee-wee as himself, the Paul Rubin documentary on HBO. I was very nervous to watch it, I think, so I had held off on it a long time. Like, Pee-wee is like the... Pee-wee and Ernest are like my two cultural icons since I was a baby. I like... My room as a kid was entirely Pee Wee Herman stuff. Like, I've always been obsessed with Paul Rubin. And then, so I was a little worried to watch this because I was like, I don't want to, like, you don't want it to be like, man, I'm going to learn all this stuff. It's just like, he's a trash human being or something. And it was really good, you know? It was very... I think vindicating. It was interesting, like, to hear his perspective on all kind of the misconceptions through media and stuff that people have of him, especially of his kind of legal problems, like, as time went on, and how none of them were really, like, as bad as... I think culturally the game of telephone was passed on the B, and you know, especially later on, obviously, you know, he had like that child pornography charge, and it's like when you actually look at the paperwork and then his lawyers and stuff talking about it, like it actually wasn't child pornography, and it was just kind of sad. Like he basically like pleaded like a sex charge because he just didn't want to do a trial, so he was like, I'll agree to whatever. And it was just kind of sad, you know, like kind of the downfall of him, but it's Pee-wee. Pee-wee's a banger. He's just awesome. Paul Rubin is the man. Also checked out Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie. I finally got to see it. It's fantastic, obviously. A big fan of these guys. You know, the year of Blackberry, that was my favorite movie that year.
Can I just say, this is such a Canadian list that you're reading off. You're like going with this. You've got the Cronenberg movies. It's great. I love it. It's setting us up nicely for this Canadian horror film we're going to be talking about. Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, Matt Johnson, I love it. And, you know, I talked about it a couple episodes ago. Like, I had finally saw The Dirties, and, you know, I like I said, I mean, I've seen Blackberry like 20 times, so, yeah, I really enjoyed this. Now, I haven't seen the web series or the television show that kind of predated this. I knew you didn't have to see it to go into it, but now I'm, like, very interested to go check it out. This is, like, as good as everyone made it out to be. I was a little worried that it was like, you know, there's lots of people saying it was an awesome movie that I never agree with their opinions, and
like me.
Yeah, and people you know that talk about it on the Rainer. I was just I was worried. And then, yeah, I loved it. It was fantastic. It was awesome. And then the last two I saw, I finally checked out The Raid 2. I'd seen The Raid 1, I think, like last year. We watched it at work.
Banger.
Yeah, I really liked it. It was funny, the guy I watched it with, I think he ended up liking the first one a little better than the second one. Obviously, where the first one, I think's a little thin of story. Like, it's more just like, I'm in a building, I'm fucking shit up. 2, obviously, they expand the world. I actually liked 2 a little better because I did like the story. I thought it was interesting, but yeah, The Raid is just a banger. And then, of course, what are you going to double feature The Raid 2 with? The same night, I finally saw the original Old Boy because I'd never seen that ever, and it was fantastic. Like, why this wasn't on my radar earlier. It's like everything I'm looking for in a movie. So fantastic. I know,
like
Willow,
like eating raw squid. Like that's what you want in a movie.
that's all I want in a movie, really. Not like flopping out of your mouth and stuff. I did see, Willow, you're an Old Boy hater, so
I'm just not the biggest fan of it. I think it's fun.
I really liked it. I thought it was cool. I liked a lot of the like surrealism in it, like just because I wasn't expecting it. Unlike everyone else in the world, I knew of Old Boy, but I didn't know like anything about Old Boy really. So I was not expecting this like revenge film to also, have like giant ants riding a subway. Like I just wasn't expecting that, and I was very pleased. And the day I decide to choose it, we'll really have to discuss Old Boy's correlation with the Serbian film. They got a lot of matching things going on there. So yeah, good times had by all. But yeah, that's everything I watched. Mike, you're last up.
Oh my god, I forgot I didn't go. I was just enjoying listening to everybody else. I'm like, ooh, this is like some good shit. So first of all, I just want to say I've been listening to a lot of Chic and Soft Cell because that's like where I am right now. I'm like 70s funk, 80s like gothic synth pop. Like you really can't go wrong. Just like there mentally. And I've also been listening to Liza Minnelli's autobiography, which she reads, and it's fucking wonderful. So I recommend everybody, if you like celebrity biographies, this one is good, and it's excellent to listen to because I just love listening to Liza Minnelli. Because even though she's 80 and, like is not in the best health, like she's still got like kick in her, and like literally and figuratively. So I respect that. And she has had one hell of a fucking life, let me tell you, even if you're not like a fan of her work. She's led one of the most interesting Hollywood dynasty lives for sure. I mean, like her mother alone, her relationship with her and her life is just a book and a half right there.
And her mom is Judy Garland, let's just say, if anyone doesn't know.
Oh yes, yeah. Sorry, I'm just like I mean, everybody knows who Liza Minnelli's mom is. Like, nobody. Yes,
everybody in our world.
Everybody in our world does, yeah. It's like our little cloister. Okay, it's funny because in terms of what I've been watching, Willow brought up her friend's new movie. What was Alice's new movie called?
The Serpent's Skin, but I think you watched Bad Girl Boogie.
Yes, and I watched Bad Girl Boogie, which I believe was one of her original features.
Here's second.
Yeah, when she was like a teenager.
17.
It's crazy because it's obviously I think it's a feature, which for 17 is kind of insane. Is it an amateur film? Of course. But like the hallmark of like a future, like you could see the like seeds of like where she was going in terms of her like investigation into like horror and stuff is, and like her influences. Like you told me, like she likes Greg Araki and stuff, and immediately as soon as I watched it, I was like, I see this. It's colorful, it's absurdist, kind of insane gore movie, I guess you could call it, about a like parasitic evil mask that like kind of possesses people over the course of a couple decades and makes them like start murdering people. And I loved this film a lot because it really like takes a lot of like normally marginalized in film and horror film communities and like identities and just like completely centers them. And so you get like a lot of, like queer and trans and non-binary characters and women, and they're all centered, but they all get to be like real messy people. And that's what I really enjoyed about this movie because, it was just like, it seemed just like real people to me, They weren't like, we have to make them like a paragon of virtue so that, representation.
Every time I watch one of her movies, I'm just like, everyone in this movie just feels like my in real life friends.
Yeah,
like, it's
right.
And that pulls you closer to it if you have that kind of connection to the movie, which I think that's one of her best skill sets, is she does kind of invite the viewer into this queer space, like in a very welcoming kind of way. And she's been great at that since the beginning, and she's only gotten better at that. Like, yeah, and she's
for sure. It just feels so natural. Yeah, I really enjoyed that movie. It's on Shudder, and I think it's also on Tubi. I watched it on Shudder. I didn't realize. And then when I went to log it, I was like, oh, it's also on Tubi, which is really cool. But yeah, it's really colorful and cool and interesting. And I think everyone should check it out, and probably some of her other stuff. I know I'll be watching more of her catalog in the months to come for sure. Yeah, so that was really good. I also had with my, normally I call it my Tubi movie night with my friend, but like, that's just kind of what we call it. We don't always watch Tubi movies. And recently we had one, and we watched my DVD, which I'm proud to still own, of one of my favorite movies of all time, because he had never seen it before. And I was like, the time is right for you to watch Boxing Helena. Directed by David Lynch's daughter, Jennifer Chambers Lynch. Starring a David Lynch, Queen Sherilyn Fenn, and unfortunately, recently deceased Julian Sands, R.I.P. Oh, everyone's favorite, in a bad wig, Bill Paxton. It's just a wonderful movie. Art Garfunkel's in it, like Kurtwood Smith from that 70s show. It's this really quote-unquote bad erotic thriller from the peak of that era, 1993, about Julian Sands is like this brilliant surgeon who has mommy issues and daddy issues, and is just like very mentally unwell, and he's rich, and he becomes obsessed with, like, he hooked up with Sherilyn Fenn once and then became obsessed with her. And this like happens way before the movie even starts. So he just like immediately starts off like completely fucking off the rails for her, and it's like, you like went out with her once, like, get over it. But anyway, she goes to a party at his house and runs out into the street and gets hit by a car. And because he's a surgeon, he brings her in his house, and instead of calling an ambulance, he amputates her legs. Great. Because they got destroyed. And so then he keeps her in a bed, and it's kind of got like a Shades of Misery, because she then becomes like his prisoner, and it starts this like kind of psychological cat and mouse game where she's kind of like battling him even though she's his prisoner, but he still desperately like wants her approval and love. And even though he's literally got her held captive in his beautiful mansion, like, she's still rebuffing his advances. And it's just like, it's just like so fucking juicy. And like, this movie has everything. Banger soundtrack, amazing actors, beautiful gauzy cinematography, like Vaseline on the camera lenses, slow motion. And what I love about it is that it just like ruined so many careers. Like, how could you not love a movie like that? Like, Kim Basinger was like one of the biggest Hollywood stars when this was coming out, and she agreed, like made a verbal agreement to be in, which she broke because she thought it was gonna be bad. And then they sued her, and she went into bankruptcy, and you never heard tell of Kim Basinger again for like 10 or 12 years because she went bankrupt and just like left Hollywood. And then she came back and did LA Confidential, and I believe won an Oscar. I can't remember if she won or was nominated. Anyway, kind of got her career back a little bit, but like it totally like blew it off. Madonna also was famously supposed to be in it, but also backed out, or she was, in talks or whatever.
Can you imagine how cunty Madonna would be without legs?
Oh, God. Oh my God. Like, literally, she could do anything. She'd still be like voguing and yeah, super cunt. Yeah. Yeah, so that was a big hit for me. I can't say what my friend thought of it, but that's fine. As Willow said, we had our little cinema club, and we watched the Takashi Miike movie, which I enjoyed, but it was unfortunately at the end of the night, and I hadn't slept at all the night before, and I was just literally, I'm not even joking, like trying to keep my eyes open. I was like, okay, there's probably only 20 minutes left, and like just literally like trying to like pinch my eyes open because I was so sleepy.
In hindsight, we shouldn't have picked a movie that's like 2.5 hours long.
Yeah, and it was a very long movie, and we kind of like, we're just sort of chit-chatting and shooting the shit for a bit, so We really shot ourselves in the foot with that one, but it was fine. It was really enjoyable.
We had a good time.
Yeah, and the Fulci was amazing. It looked great in 4K. I need to get the disc. It looked just beautiful and stunning. All the colors, all the like muddy hues, just like fucking, I could eat it up. City of the Living Dead is just amazing. And I finally watched... Actually, it's because of our movie club that I watched this. So the next day, I got up, made coffee, went back to bed, and watched Sinners.
Oh, nice.
Which I had not seen before.
Yeah, we kind of bullied Mike into watching it.
Good.
Oh, 100%. It was a bullying, and it's fine, honestly, because I wanted to watch it. It was like a little bit too long, and every time I wanted to watch a movie, it was kind of... Yeah, I was just late at night, usually when I go to watch movies, and so it's like, I know I can't, I'll start falling asleep. So I said, you know what, I'm going to get up in the morning and watch it. And obviously I fucking loved it. It was amazing. It was everything I wanted it to be and more. I cried a couple times, especially during that like time collapse, like musical scene in the middle of it. Like, oh, the cast, amazing, stacked, hot, like cinematography, everything about it was like A++. I loved it. Spoiler alert. You can go on Letterboxd and see why I didn't give it 5 stars.
I love that, by the way. That was my favorite about your review.
I mean, I was like, come on. Like, you know this is going to be my problem with this movie, but that's fine.
Mike, no one supports women more than you, and I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you. Mm-hmm. I appreciate that. I really do. Like... I gotta look out for my girls. Speaking of looking out for my girls, I started watching this literally probably a month ago, and again, this is my issue. I started watching it late at night, and I realized I was too tired and I was going to fall asleep during it, so I stopped it. And then I forgot for a few weeks that I had been watching it, and then a few days ago, I was like, oh my God, I never finished that. So it's on Criterion right now, and it's like a landmark 90s lesbian film called The Watermelon Woman. I know Willow knows it. You've seen that before, right? Obviously.
It's so good. It's the best.
It is delightful. And see, the thing is, when I was watching it and I could feel myself fading, I didn't want to fall asleep during because I was like really like into it. So I was like, I have to turn it off out of respect.
You know what? I think you would even like it, Rowan. It's all about like video store culture, and the cast is like all black.
Nice.
Yeah.
You know, it's awesome. Like you'd totally dig it.
There's so many scenes in the video store, and it really like made me feel like warm and cozy inside. But yeah, it's this like wonderful, wonderful independent movie about...
Oh, also it's gay. You should watch it too, Jillian.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I'll write that down.
It's super gay.
Yeah, I think you would enjoy it.
Guinevere Turner from Go Fish and American Psycho writer fame is in it as well. The cast is amazing. It's just about these like video store clerks, and one of them is like becomes obsessed with like watching these old films, and there's this like actress in it called the Watermelon Woman, and she starts like researching her life and career and social circle, and it's just sort of like such a amazing look at like how you couldn't just take a piece of circuitry out of your pocket and find out everything about someone in 30 seconds. You actually had to like do research, and there was like still mystery to life in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Because the internet was not everywhere. So honestly, it was like kind of refreshing, and I was like, this is a change of pace that I really needed. Mm-hmm. I'm like only going to watch movies from before the internet was made from now on. Just mark my words.
Honestly. Yeah.
How some people don't watch movies before the last 10 years? I'm not going to watch any movies from the... What is it? I don't want to see any iPhone face.
Also, that's like ruining everything. But I don't want to talk about Mulholland Drive, but like also Mulholland Drive, like the mystery of like trying to find out like who she is, who Rita is. Also is made much better by the fact that there's no like technology to ruin it.
Exactly. The movie would literally not exist. So it's like, what now?
It's funny. The only cell phone that ever appeared in any David Lynch movie was in Twin Peaks: The Return in 2017, when one of the characters uses a fucking ancient flip phone. It's great.
I love that.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
That's why he's king right there. And so earlier today, when I got home from work, I was thinking I wanted to watch a movie, and I was like, oh, I want to watch Psycho 2 or The Exorcist 2. I just wanted to watch a sequel to like a horror movie that everybody hates for some reason. And when I opened my jellyfin server, I'm going to call it jellyfish. I need to change the name. I just realized that. It's like, oh, I stepped on a jellyfish. Oh, pee on my foot. Anyway.
Pee on my face.
Pee on my face. Not that. We're not getting into the water sports
That's in Twin
portion of the
Cheeks,
episode here.
by the way.
Twin Cheeks. Oh, of course it is. Of course it is. But I like tapped the button to sort it in a random way. And for some weird reason, Summer with Monica by Ingmar Bergman popped up, which is not a horror movie and is in fact a very moody 1950s, black and white like character study, as you would expect, because it's Ingmar Bergman and it's Swedish. So that was how I spent my afternoon before we started recording. That was fun. It's great. It's kind of like I compared it on my Letterboxd review to Badlands. It's like these two teenagers that quit their jobs and kind of like fall in love and go off on an adventure in like a boat. Is like long story short, but there's so much more to it than that. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's actually one of the Bergman movies that I'd never seen before. And that's why I was like, oh, I should put that on. I keep watching movies that I've seen a million times or multiple times. So I was like, oh, I've never seen Summer with Monica. Let's do it. So I did that while eating chicken wings. That was a choice.
What a lovely
just as Bergman would have wanted.
Yeah, right? Exactly. It's like homemade, frozen chicken wings. Actually, I just want to shout out the movie that I watched last night. It was on VHS. I picked it up. I went to the thrift store the other day after work, and I got extremely excited because I got a couple of good movies, but the one that I was the most excited about was one of my classic VHS movies from the 90s, and it's the amazing Rennie Harlin action thriller The Long Kiss Goodnight, starring Gina Davis.
Fantastic.
And Samuel L. Jackson. Banger movie. Banger movie. I've been meaning to pick up the 4K for the last few months anyway, because this fall they put out, Arrow Video did a collector's edition 4K, and it apparently looks amazing, and it also has a commentary on it by two of my favorite people, the hosts of Bloodhouse, which everybody should listen to, Josh and Drusilla. Drusilla is also an amazing graphic designer who did the Miss 45 Arrow cover, among a million others. She's always doing stuff for Criterion, like the new Eyes Wide Shut 4K that came out. That beautiful cover. She did that. Anyway, yes, they did a commentary, and I really need to get it, but VHS was the way to watch this. It is such a fucking excellent movie. Like, are there flaws in it and like parts that, maybe like would never have been made outside of the 90s? Yes, of course. But Gina Davis looks amazing in it. She fucking nails it. Like this, I feel like anybody else playing this role would not have done as good a job because, she kind of has that duality of, what it is, if anyone doesn't know, because I feel like it is a little bit more of an obscure movie now. It was very popular in the 90s, like kind of a fairly big hit, or maybe just in Mike Land it was. But it's about this, like, I don't want to call her frumpy, but like a kind of frumpy teacher in this like small town, and she's got like this daughter and a man, and she's like Mrs. Claus in the Santa Claus parade, and she started this new life because she has amnesia from like 8 years before and doesn't remember anything about her life. And through the jigs and the reels of it, you find out that she was in fact a highly lethal government assassin. And these guys from her past start coming after her, and she slowly recovers her memory and then becomes this like badass fucking like action bitch for the rest of the movie. And it is so funny, and Shane Black wrote it, so of course it's like got all the hallmarks of a Shane Black movie. It's really smart, dark, and really funny, and it's just a banger, and you should watch it. Gina Davis has this beautiful cunty bleach blonde bob that is not a wig. It's legitimate hair, which is why it looks so good. Yeah, everyone should watch it if you like action movies. Gina Davis like sells both of those because they're both like very different characters. So she sells the like frumpy thing 1,000%, and she sells the badass thing 1,000%. And I feel like a lot of actresses might do one or the other better depending on their like kind of skill set. But she is just so wonderful and incredible that I would buy them both as separate characters. They're just chef's kiss. Yeah. So watch that, watch the 4K, find a VHS of it, get in your eyeballs.
So with that, we're going to get into our film for this evening. Gill, this was your pick, so why don't you let the people know what you picked and why?
All right. On the docket today is Ginger Snaps 3, or Ginger Snaps Back, the beginning. And I chose this movie because I feel like every single year we review a Ginger Snaps movie, so it's tradition. It's the last one in the trilogy, so I felt like it was time to put a pin in it and finish talking about it. And of course, we got to have Willow here when we do that. So yeah, it worked out nicely.
Yeah, I'm very happy to be here talking about this movie.
So with that, we'll get into the trailer and we'll be back with the synopsis and first experiences.
Through the course of many lifetimes,
What is everyone so afraid of?
two sisters will face the terror
Something bit me.
of their own destiny.
It is your sin that has brought the devil upon us.
It's in here with us. Be quiet. Run.
Ginger Snaps Back, the beginning. Tonight at 8/5 Pacific on FearNet.
Ginger Snaps Back, the beginning, was released in 2004. It was directed by Grant Harvey and written by Christina Ray and Stephen Michaud. And the synopsis is as follows. Set in 19th century Canada, Bridget and her sister Ginger take refuge in a trader's fort, which later becomes under siege by some savage werewolves. But when one of the girls is bitten, they have no one to turn to but themselves. So first experiences, is this our first time seeing it? Or, when we watch Ginger Snaps 1, you gotta watch all three. Like, you can't just watch one. It's like Pringles. You gotta have more than one. Jill, this was your pick, so why don't you kick us off?
Yeah, as we know, I was obsessed, still am obsessed with Ginger Snaps as a teenager. It was very formative for me. So just a little backstory. I probably talked about this before, but how I got my hands on Ginger Snaps in rural Newfoundland in the early 2000s was my friend had a sister who lived in Ontario, and we basically bribed her to get DVDs of Ginger Snaps 1 and 2, and she mailed them to him, and then we watched them, and I loved it so much that I burned off my own copies. So I watched those quite a few times. I did not have access to Ginger Snaps 3, so that one I watched many less times than the other two, but I did download it illegally online, and that is how I watched that one. Probably watched it like a good amount of times because when it came on today, I like remembered like all of the dialogue in the beginning, and I was like, oh, actually, yeah, I really do know this movie. So yeah, that is my experience with it. Willow's our guest, so tell us about your experiences with it.
Yeah, I was actually supposed to be on the episode that y'all did for Ginger Snaps 2, and we recorded that, and it was great, and I had a wonderful time, but like my audio file was corrupted after I tried to send it to Rowan, and I was like really devastated by that because I think that like Gill and I had a really good conversation in particular about what Ginger Snaps meant to both of us. Because I think that it was like very formative for me too, and we bonded over that. And I've been a huge fan of Ginger Snaps since I was a teenager. I grew up in America where like Canadian horror is kind of just David Cronenberg, but like Ginger Snaps was like kind of a popular DVD at the time, and this kind of like feminist-ish horror movie during the period, and I gravitated to that, and I loved it. But like the movie spoke to me not because I was experiencing menstruation because I'm trans. It spoke to me because I was experiencing gender dysphoria, and the movie deals with body dysmorphia. And the Ginger Snaps movies have always been very important to me for that reason, because it felt like they were speaking to an experience that I was having, and other horror movies weren't necessarily speaking to that experience. And an interesting thing happened last year where Ginger Snaps actually played in St. John's, and Karen Walton was here for it. And I actually talked to Karen Walton after that screening and bonded with her and talked with her for like half an hour, close to an hour. And she spoke to me about how she was touched by the fact that Ginger Snaps mattered to me as a trans person, because she told me that was always her intention mention that she didn't necessarily want to just make a movie about menstruation, but actually communicate to experiences that all sorts of girls were experiencing about like being dissatisfied with the way that their body was developing or whatever. She said that that was always the intention, and she was very happy to hear that it mattered to me. And Karen Walton was very lovely. I had a wonderful experience talking with her, and it's one of the greatest regrets of my life that I heard that later that evening she went and did karaoke in town. And I almost went with her, but like I ended up not doing that because I can't even remember the reason why I didn't go. But like she apparently does an amazing cover of Hole's Violet, and the sky was made of amethyst. You know, it's a fucking banger. It's one of the greatest songs of all time. Amazing taste in music, amazing woman, love her. But the Ginger Snaps movies are like very important to me. I've loved them for a long time. Ginger Snaps 3 is I never rewatched that one as much as 1 or 2, but I had an interesting experience revisiting it where I think it's just as good as those first 2 movies and maybe better than the first 2 movies in a couple of ways, and I'll get into that in a little bit. So what about you, Mike? What is your experience with the Canadian classic Ginger Snaps? I know you watched it with me when it played here, but tell me more.
Oh, of course. And that was wonderful. One of the things that I loved about Karen Walton was, and I mean, listen, I don't know if she was bullshitting us or not, but I don't think she was, because like she just didn't seem to give a fuck. But I love that she said she's gone to numerous festivals and stuff throughout the years for Ginger Snaps, but she said she's never stayed and watched the full movie through at any of these screenings. And the first time that she watched the movie like right through to the end was at our screening, because she was doing the Q&A afterwards, because she's like, the ending was just too devastating to her. And I just thought that was so amazing. I'm like, I love that it still like means so much to her, and that like she's not dead to it after like 25 years, you know what I mean? And I'm just like, oh fuck, like what a woman. Also, incredible taste. She was talking about music during the whole Q&A, and I was just like, even though I was falling asleep, because like tonight I have to work at like 5 o'clock the next morning, but yeah, it was such a wonderful experience.
During that, Mike and I gave a knowing glance to one another when she was like, yeah, I love Hole and Bikini Kill and PJ Harvey. And we were just like, yeah, of course you do. You're amazing.
Obviously. We were just like, duh. So do we. Anyway, here's my email. Let's become best friends. Yeah, so of course I saw the second one in theaters, and this one, for some weird reason, I thought I saw it in theaters, but I must have rented it because I don't think it had a theatrical run. So I definitely like rented the DVD. Yeah, so I definitely rented the DVD at like, you know, Allen's or Blockbuster or Jumbo or wherever was around at the time. And I don't think I've watched it since, because I was like, I liked it fine, but I didn't, in my brain, you know, my like 2004 brain, I just didn't like it as much as the second movie, because the second one is like very special for reasons that we already went into. But yeah, so that's my like Ginger Snaps 3 trajectory. Ro, what about you? You must have this on 4K.
Yeah, that's right. The hot 4K of Ginger Snaps back. No, I've never seen it. This is my first time seeing it. When we did 2, that was my first time seeing that one too. I love the first one. I have owned the first one forever. I owned it on DVD. I owned it on VHS. Like I watched it all the time, but was never overly interested in the sequels. I've talked about before, I'm not like, I like a good werewolf movie, but I'm not like overly a werewolf movie guy, just because I think commonly werewolf movies are kind of looked at, I feel like the horror movies that are like usually not as good as the other ones, like they're never executed properly. I think maybe just because it's hard if you're doing a low budget werewolf movie, because, you know, you got to put some special effects money and stuff into it. So I kind of like stay, you know, it's got to be something that someone's like, oh, you got to watch this. So I'd never seen this. This was my first time watching it. And yeah, so I'm sure we'll talk about it. So with that, you know, let's open the fort doors and come on in from the safety of the wolves and discuss Ginger Snaps back, the beginning. Why we couldn't have just done Ginger Snaps 3, the beginning, I'm not sure. But That's okay. Just a little, bugged me just a little bit. I'll start off with that.
Oh, that's where we're starting. Okay.
I'm just saying, I like if you're numerical with Ginger Snaps 2, I like my movies to be numerical 3.
Well, then explain Leprechaun to me in your fascination with that.
Gagged him.
Well, I think I said our Leprechaun episode this year. I think I said I don't like that after space they got rid of the numbers. If you're gonna do the numbers, stick with the numbers. Friday the 13th, they stuck with the numbers for a bit at least.
Up until part 9.
Yeah, until they decided to go a little off the deep end there, but just numerical. I'm just saying.
Well, I don't know if numerical works here because it's kind of a prequel, so that it is going back, so it kind of makes sense actually. Now that I'm thinking about it,
I'm with Gill. I think if it was just called Ginger Snaps 3, it would be confusing because people would think it would be a direct sequel.
Well, and I was gonna say, maybe I just live in the wrong place because I did see that I think a lot of the international releases actually have Ginger Snaps 3 on the Blu-rays and stuff. So it was definitely titled Ginger Snap 3 in some places. Just not here. That's all right. That's just a little gripe, guys. It's not a hard knock on the movie. I'm just saying for, for my brain, whatever you want to call it, I just like that. My OCD brain likes those numerical orders. So
we'll let it slide.
But Canada, the great outdoors, Hudson Bay Company. Shout out to Zellers. I was a Zellers employee, which is an offshoot of Hudson Bay Company. So I felt patriotic just starting this movie.
The beginnings, the roots of Canada. That's what I like about this movie, honestly. It's a strange one. It's a strange one to describe to someone who's never seen it and has only seen the other 2 Ginger Snaps movie, because it is kind of an anomaly, an oddity. But I like that it has this colonial Canadian setting, because you don't really get that anywhere, especially in a horror movie, especially in a werewolf movie. And it just really marries everything together. What was that movie that we did a couple years ago where it was kind of similar? It was in the wilderness. It was
Ravenous?
Colton's pick. Ravenous. It kind of reminded me of that. Kind of reminded me of the Revenant, just things like that, where it's kind of isolated but outside. It also reminded me of The Thing too, the isolation, the paranoia, the leashes.
Night of the Living Dead also.
Yeah.
Except it's not a fort, it's a farmhouse, but
farmhouse.
It's essentially the same thing.
Yeah.
They're like, oh my God, we're being attacked. Let's go here. And it's oh no, we're almost more fucked here than...
Yeah.
You bring up the Canadianness, and I think that's actually a really interesting point, because I think when I watched this movie initially, when it came out as an American, I think a lot of that stuff went over my head. And I think that it's so specifically Canadian that I think that it might actually be a little bit impenetrable for a viewer who doesn't have any sense of Canadian history at all. Because an interesting thing happened when I revisited it, having now immigrated to Canada and been living here for 10 years. All of that stuff rung true to me, where I could point the patterns in it, where I'd be like, oh, okay, that is that, because, this is a setting in Canadian history. This is taking place before Canada was actually even a country, that they were British and French provinces. And I actually got in touch with one of my friends, an author, who actually was friendly with some of the people who worked on this movie. And I was like, there's a lot of very specific Canadian qualities to this that I think are interesting. And I think that there's a lot of tension in the film, particularly with Canada's colonialist history as it brushes up against Aboriginal cultural histories in a way that I think is really distinct from the way that American movies handle Aboriginal issues. And I think that the tension there is really, I think that it really deepens the film in a way, because I think if you do watch this movie, I think it's more of an intellectual experience rather than an emotional one that you get from the first 2 movies, where you get this additional thing. And I think that the movie's actually really smart about that. And that was one of the more surprising aspects of it to me, because I didn't consider that the film would open up to me in that way as a newly Canadian person or whatever, where now I think I have this kind of knowledge about the history of this nation where I have more access to a movie like this. And I think that that's great.
Yeah, and I like what you said about the tension between the indigenous peoples and the colonizers. There's a lot of that. You have that supernatural quality of the seer, which I really liked. And you also have the tension between the men and the two sisters. Like, there's also way too many men in this movie. Like, that's like one of my gripes with it, but whatever. And then you have that one French guy, and I love that he says tabernacle. I don't even know if that's like, I think that's an anachronism. I think there's a lot of anachronisms in this movie, but I'm going to glaze over it and I'm just going to pretend they don't exist. But they kind of add to like the comedy aspect of it too, because this is a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek kind of movie. But I love that you also have that French character and the rest of them are like British colonizers. So yeah, there's lots of different tensions going on.
So there are a lot of these aspects of Canadian history where we have a lot of different cultures melting together to form the nation that this becomes, and I think that that's present in this movie. I think that the film is really interesting to me because it suggests that the Gothic myth of the Fitzgerald sisters is connected to the land itself, because, you know, we'll get to it eventually, but like the curse that like Catherine Isabel's character is experiencing Ginger, the curse that she's experienced as she's once again turning into a werewolf is connected to the colonialist history, where like her metaphor ends up being a larger historical metaphor. And I think that that's a really smart way to address this instead of this just being a run-of-the-mill sequel. It's trying a lot of different things, and I'll always respect a sequel that tries to do a lot of different things, even if they send a leprechaun out in space, for example.
Oh my god. Yeah,
especially then.
Speaking of diseases and plagues and like these Europeans coming over here to this land and bringing that along with them. And I guess that's exactly what happens. I guess that's like the history of the whole thing. Also, I was like really confused. Every time I watch this, I get confused because I'm like, okay, they act really modern, like Bridget and Ginger. Like they act exactly like their perspective modern day counterparts, but they're also their own ancestors, and I try to make it make sense every time, and I think I just need to stop doing that in order to just like let that go and really enjoy it. But yeah, it's like they are themselves and they create this curse, and they're like hiding from something, they're running from something in the beginning, but they don't know what it is. And I don't know, all of that just really confused me.
I think that there's kind of a conflict happening there where like they kind of want to reference the first two movies, but also kind of like fold the history of the Fitzgerald sisters into a larger canon of what the Ginger Snaps movies are, where I think it is convoluted, but I think that if you just approach it as like a vibes-based thing, just like, oh, like they're obviously referencing the first couple of films and they're also these separate characters, you kind of just deal with it a bit better. But like if you look at it like just logically, maybe like it doesn't add up, but like that's fine. Like at a point with horror sequels, like looking for logic is it gets a bit hairy.
Definitely.
I feel too like it probably for them also it's probably hard to get, because obviously they shot this like right after they shot it they shot
it right after
too, so they went right into this. And it's probably hard, like I was going to say, just as actors to pull out, because, you know, this film's taking the approach now that like 1 and 2 were using this metaphor for like Ginger and women going through puberty and the change in your body, all this kind of stuff. Where then they're pretty much immediately, and even in 2 they're doing this, but then they take this one where it's like, actually, this isn't a metaphor anymore. And like now it's, you know, all this lore of like the family history and stuff going on. And I think maybe I felt the same thing you did, Gill, where I thought the same thing where I was like, oh, to me, the sisters are kind of acting like they're in 1 and 2, just they're wearing cloaks now, essentially, half of the time. But I also can see the charm in it, because not only is it, like, super Canadian, but I'm like, yeah, you know, I didn't need to read to know that, like, oh, yeah, this was, like, a Canadian straight-to-DVD film. Like, yeah. To me, like, everything was pretty much on par there. Like, for me, I was like, the sets are, like, good, but they're, you know, it's not, like, everything isn't like incredible, immaculate. It's just we did this with a modest budget and it's very Canadian.
Can I just say something about that?
Yeah.
This was actually shot at a historic site. It was shot in Fort Edmonton Park in Alberta. Yeah, and it's actually shot in the same place that the assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford was shot. And that's widely considered one of the best, like, looking movies of the aughts. And I think that you can tell the budgetary differences between the two movies if you watch them. But I do think that the general vibe of the set, like the fog and like the wooden pikes and just like the like listless camera, I think it creates such a gothic sensibility that's different from the first two that I really enjoy it, where like even if you can kind of see the seams a little bit of this being low budget, I think that it's a kind of low budget that has a lot of aesthetic flair to it. And I think a lot of that is from being set in a historic Canadian place. But I also think some of that is just the ingenuity of them leaning into the fact that, like, okay, like, let's lean all the way into this being like a gothic story instead of like a teenage story. Yeah. And I appreciate that about it. I love that about it. Like I mentioned to Mike that there's some Jean Rollin kind of sensibilities in this. Jean Rollin was a French horror filmmaker, a real stylist who basically only made movies about like lesbian vampires. So there's like this kind of sensibility in this movie where I think like the relationship between the two sisters, where they can become more symbolic of a kind of like haunted femininity that I really appreciate. Like I really gravitate to that sort of thing. And I think that the cheapness of the movie actually helps in that way, because it made them be a little bit more imaginative about how like they can actually address the limitations of the budget within the historic site that they had. And I really like that about it.
I mean, I think to me too, like I thought the budgetary confinements were funny, even with the werewolves themselves. I'm just gonna let you know, I thought the werewolves slapped in this.
They always do.
Yeah.
They always
do. But
they always do.
It wasn't like, to me, I mean, obviously, I you know, do I think the werewolves look as good as I think they do in the first one? No. But like they had so many scenes where it'd be like looking at the werewolf and the werewolf's like running. And it sounds negative when I say it looked goofy, but it looked goofy and I thought it was awesome. Cause like you could just kind of like see the fabric just going like doing like wobbly arms as they'd run. And it like almost looked like actual just like puppeteering on strings. And I thought that was awesome. Like I was like, this looks cool just because, no, you know, especially as I said, that werewolf movies are very hard to pull off. Usually you don't get all the werewolf. You're just getting kind of quick flashes of the werewolf. I appreciate the look. And I really think that all leans into the cheap Canadian direct-to-video movie. As a Canadian child, I'm like, this literally looks like anything I've ever seen made in Canada in the 80s or the 90s. Mm-hmm. So, you know, maybe if you're from somewhere else, you'd be like, this is absolute garbage. And I'm like, this is high budget for Canada, bud. Like,
there's a lot of really bad direct-to-video American movies that look significantly worse than this, I'll just say.
But I do agree with you about the style. Like it definitely, you know, other than our main characters in the other ones kind of, you know, being goth girls and having like that suburban goth style, like this is definitely a more traditional gothic feel with the set and the fog and the outfits and stuff. And, you know, we said before we recorded, it's probably one of the harder things for me to connect to this because it's just not my thing. I like, not only is it a period piece, but I also don't necessarily love gothic period pieces just because it's just not my thing. And I know they're trying to do something different. It's just like, to me, the thing that makes Ginger Snaps work is that suburbanness. That's why, like, even as a guy, I still connect to it and everything. Like, I just like, it placed in this, like, suburban setting. And obviously when we did 2, probably my work affects that, where, like, I liked it where it was set in, like, an institution. And I was like, oh, yeah, like, I'm familiar with this. Where, I'm also probably the wrong guy, too, because, I don't necessarily spend a lot of time loving or reading about like old Canadian history. So I'm like, okay, it's cute for me, but I was like, kind of whatever.
The education system has let you down, Rowan.
It's let me down. Yeah.
No, but like, it's funny because it's just like, you look at it and I feel I don't like feeling this all the time necessarily, because I think national pride is a problematic notion, but I do look at this sometimes, something like this, and feel that little bit of like Canadian pride, because I look at this and go, this is a government funded, beautiful, independent film, because all this shit got like money from the government, right? Maybe not a lot, but
there's a telefilm thing at the end of the movie, like in the credits,
and that's beautiful. And if you don't know what that means, like anytime you watch like a Canadian movie, especially like more independent ones, like there's always government funding. I mean, I don't know what the situation is now in 2026, but for decades, Canada has been very good with funding a lot of, arts, like especially, music and film and literature. Yeah, it's Willow's indicating that maybe it's not so great, which is kind of the state of the world.
It's not a high priority right now, but like you can't blame them really either for it not being a high priority, I guess. I don't know. This is not a political podcast, but like,
no, there's a lot going on right now, but I mean, listen,
there's a lot going on.
Yeah, traditionally, little, Canadian movies will get funded, and you can look at that and go, thank you, government. So, I do feel a little bit of a sense of pride in that, we have this like canon of films that might not have been made otherwise, or might have looked even worse. So,
and especially in the horror genre, like there's if anything that Canada is known for in places that aren't Canada, like if you say to someone like, what is a Canadian film, they will think about horror movies first. They'll think about David Cronenberg. They will think about something like Ginger Snaps. They'll think about something like I don't know, like Black Christmas, exactly. Curtains. These Canadian movies that are like cult classics, and in some cases even have a bigger audience than just the cult audience of a horror fan base. And I think that's great. I think that we should respect our history and our great products within horror. Like Canadian horror is so fucking good a lot of the times. Like that's something that I learned when I was a teenager. I was like, okay, Canadian horror is cold and realistic, and oftentimes more physical and ladled with body horror than American horror. Like that was the sensation that I got. It was less sensationalistic and more realistic, and because it was more realistic, I oftentimes found it more effective. That doesn't necessarily mean that I would say that Ginger Snaps 3 is like this, like just really like visceral experience, because it's not. It's more gothic, like we're saying. Yeah. But like the first Ginger Snaps, absolutely, I felt that movie in my fucking blood. It's great.
And not even just like Canadian horror movies, but even like Goosebumps. Like a lot of that was filmed in Canada, I think, because it was cheaper. A lot of like series that kind of lean in that like paranormal or horror genre for children. Brendan Fletcher too. I'm pretty sure he was in Goosebumps. He plays Finn in this movie. He's also in Ginger Snaps 2. I think he plays the librarian. I forget his name. It might be Sam. But you get all these like familiar kind of actors and actresses in these movies, like Catherine Isabel, like, she's known for her horror. I like that too. I like that there's just like this group of familiar actors and actresses that you see in these?
The pastor, the guy who plays Reverend Gilbert, is his name's Hugh Dillon, and he's actually in a Canadian punk rock band, which I think is really cool.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So he was like totally playing against the type of person that he was in real life by playing this character, and the director was like, just embody him by like being like everything you hate.
He was so good by being just,
he does an excellent job.
Terrible. Like a terrible person.
He's so despicable in this movie. Like we haven't gotten into the plot too much, but like he's totally gaslighting and terrible to the girls after they arrive in the fort and are looking for a place to kind of deal with the fact that Ginger is transforming and sick and needs help, and he just like is like, I want these women to get the fuck out of here. Like, he's the worst.
Mm-hmm.
He was definitely one of the better characters in it that I like, just because he was like such a good villain.
It was giving Margaret White from Carrie, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, maybe
like complimentary.
Maybe it's the fact, like you guys said, I don't know, maybe it's too many men. I found like, I didn't know, like maybe I felt there was too many people populating this fort or something. I just felt like I really liked the evil Reverend guy, but I just felt like I didn't get like a good picture. Like everyone was basically just like a real quick caricature of someone like the doctor, whatever. But I was like, I just feel like I didn't connect enough where, I don't know, I just feel like a period piece. I would have, like, let's say a non-horror period piece, right? Like I would have been like, have some sort of connection built with all this world and this populace. And I thought, to me, because I was most interested in, okay, so where does this ginger snaps and werewolf lore? I was more interested in the connection with like the indigenous stuff, and I wish there had been more of that stuff in this. And you know, we do get like stuff towards the end, and obviously we get like the hunter guy, it's laced throughout it, but I guess I just wish we could have spent even more time in like kind of that indigenous mystic world with the werewolf stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Just because, like I said, I felt if anything, which is weird because even in the original Ginger Snaps, there's a lot of cannon fodder, a lot of just teenage boys that are gonna, you know, get destroyed. But this, I was just like, I kind of like, it was weird because a lot of people eventually die in this, but I also like didn't feel the body count, if you know what I meant. I was like, I feel like not enough people are dying in this, and I get you're trying to do kind of this isolation horror also, where they're in this fort and they don't know about the supplies and stuff like that. But I think compared to 1 and 2, like the pacing on this too, right? And because it's a period piece, like the pacing is a little longer, a little, like I said, they're leaning into that isolation. There was just, I really wish there was more indigenous stuff in it. And I also felt all of that stuff where they're bringing in the fort and the Canadian history. I also, like, and maybe it was just me, but oddly enough, I felt like not enough Bridget and Ginger. Like, I would have liked more Ginger stuff, more Bridget stuff. I feel like Mike now. I was just like, all right, I'm done focusing on these men.
Yes.
I don't really care about these men. I want to know more into Ginger and Bridget's story and stuff. And it seems like every time they kind of are like peeling back a part of the onion, then it's like, no, we're gonna go back to, you know, the Reverend or the guy that's running the facility and stuff. And I don't know, I was just like, I don't really care about these guys. Like, let's just kill them and talk more about Bridget and Ginger.
Yeah, I'm with you.
But I think that's fair, but I would push back on that and say that I think that they are trying to opt for realism more than the previous 2 films, where I think that they are trying to fill up the fort with as many people as they possibly can, given the budgetary constraints. I listened to the commentary track. I own the DVD.
Yeah.
The director said that there's a cast of around 12 people here, which is really small for a fort. And if he could have had a higher budget, there would have been way more characters in the fort. And the film probably would have been longer too. Like, it's necessary to remember that this is like an 80-minute movie, so we can only get like snapshots of every character. But I do think that they're opting for realism in the way that the Fitzgerald sisters are pushing up against misogyny within this space. in a way that I think kind of diminishes them in the film a little bit, but I think that their symbolic place within Ginger Snaps as a whole kind of like powers the movie, where even if they are kind of being gaslit and pushed down in this space, we know that it'll eventually come back around to them. And the movie does sort of depend upon the Fitzgerald sisters and the Aboriginal characters. The Aboriginal character in this, he's just simply called the Hunter, like that's his character name, and he's played by an actor named Nathaniel Arkand. He's Cree, and he actually like gave them a lot of tips and stuff about like how do they make the indigenous stuff actually more realistic and faithful and honest and respectful. And I appreciate that element in the movie is pronounced, and I appreciate that the Fitzgerald sisters are kind of made culpable within it in the way that they don't listen to his warnings about the way that, you know, they present Bridget with this problem where you have to kill your sister basically so that you can give peace to the land, and she doesn't do that. What she does is she kills the indigenous character, which I think is a really interesting way of turning the Fitzgerald sisters into monstrous figures of like racism and whatnot. It's really complicated stuff for these characters that we had previously been empathizing with and relating with, where I think that we're kind of pulled into this in a way that I think is really complicated, and I like sitting with those complicated emotions. I think that it makes the film better.
I think that also is a parallel with like Bridget's behavior too. Like in every single movie, she is just like this overly protective sister, and every single one, she always wants to do what she can to protect Ginger, no matter what the cost is to everyone else or even herself. And it always ends tragically. Like every single movie ends tragically with her having to either kill her sister or like infect herself. And yeah, I like that they ended it in that same tragic way.
Yeah, and that makes it very, very within Gothic tradition. Like it's very much in the mode of like the Bronte sisters, you know, like it's like Ginger Snaps remixed through like that lens, and I think that's great.
I'd almost argue this ending is almost more depressing than the other two, really. Which, like Willow said, I think matches kind of that gothicness of like Ginger turning her at the end. But I mean, essentially, right? Like they're out of the fort, they're out in the Canadian winter cold in the forest. Although I guess they're all right if they're werewolves. They got fur, so they'll be all right. You gotta look out for those trappers though. That Hudson Bay company will get you. And then next thing you know, someone's selling your fur at the bay for like, you know, a couple $100.
Oh my God.
And then you're like, in 200 years, you're going to be going out of business. But you will have a good 150 years for sure. I actually I kept thinking about how much the Hudson Bay Company, which for anybody who isn't Canadian, it's literally one of the like linchpins of Canadian history. It truly is. Like, it's a department store now, but like it was the trading company and like that like founded Canada, right? Like, but I kept thinking about the parallels between Canadian colonialism and the Hudson Bay Company, who they all numerous times just refer to as the company, and alien and space colonialism and the company. And I was just like, oh fuck, horror movies are so fucking good, man. Like, Jesus, there's so much to chew on here. It's like, fuck.
I love that connection.
And, you know, it's you just wish that there was like more time and resources that they could kind of like pull at all these threads a little bit more and kind of spend a bit more time chewing on it. And yeah, maybe, you know, there'll be a part 4 at some point and we can investigate that more. Who knows?
Yeah, I just want to say that the movie actually starts with a mention of Hudson's Bay. It literally says 36 men traveled to Hudson's Bay in York boats laden with animal pelts and never returned. So the implication there is that they went up there and then the Fitzgerald sisters killed them. So I love that integration into real history with like the fictionalized history of the Fitzgerald sisters. Like, I think if you know, you know, and it gives you like a lot of threads to pull at if you want to like go looking for like actual Canadian history to like give you a better bedrock for like what this movie is getting at. And I don't think that Rowan is wrong necessarily that like some of this is thin. I do think that if if the film were 2 hours, it would probably be closer to the movie that they wanted it to be, because I do think that they brush over a lot of this stuff. But I do think what's there is suggestive enough that I think that it gets by on what it's presenting.
100%.
Yeah, and I'm a bad one to bring this up because, I mean, we haven't talked about like the pacing or anything, which I always discuss, but I'm not going to lie, it felt like 2 hours for me.
It is a long one. It does feel long.
It feels long, and to me, I was saddened because, like I said, like the other two, I think the other two whipped by, and this one, I like I said, it's so many elements that are not my thing, and it's facing an uphill battle with me.
So what you're saying, Rowan, is mall goths are superior to real goths?
100%. 100%. I'll take the mall goths. It's like I said, it's just the setting, what I connect to, I guess. I don't know. Something must have happened to me as a child or something that I just hate history or something. You
hate old gothic women.
Maybe. It's anything like, I mean, we've had so many of these conversations throughout the years on here. Like, I don't like things set in world wars. Like, I don't like anything that's The Witch is like one of the only things I like that is kind of a period piece. I can't really think of many other period pieces.
It's just not your cup of tea. That's okay.
It's okay, guys. It's okay. Yeah.
See, for me, I wish it felt even slower. I wish it was glacial. I wish it was just 2 hours of the two of them on horseback, just like drifting through the woods. Like, that's like a perfect movie for me. Just like slow cinema. I love it. Just the vibe of them just like in this haunted limbo of just not knowing where to go, this hell, this inexplicable place. Like, that would be a perfect movie for me. And that's what like the first 5 minutes of the movie is, and like that's fantastic. Like, I love that at an aesthetic level, and it's just it's totally my shit.
Just to go back to what we were saying, like the vibes, everything, like I do like the gothic vibes. I did really feel the length in this one too. I think just because like being so used to the first two movies, they're like my shit. They're like my favorites, and this one was the one that I visited way less often, and it's my least favorite of the three. I like the vibes, I like what's going on, but yeah, it's a lot of men and it's a lot of people I don't necessarily like connect with or remember their names or like who they are or what they are really contributing. So
except the hunter.
Yeah,
because he's hot.
Yeah, except him. Well, yeah, the indigenous people we like,
and
the women we like, and everyone else is just fodder. I do like that one French guy just because he said tabernacle. I thought that was super funny. And I also wonder if he wouldn't even said that at that time. Like, I think that's an anachronism right there. But yeah, it's definitely a longer one. It's much more of a slow burn, so I can definitely see like how this would be harder to. Oh my god! Look what I just found. I just found my Ginger Snaps pen. I forgot I had this.
Oh, nice. That's so cool. It was meant to be.
Yep.
I mean, the good thing for this movie and me is that it's going to get like a half-star extra for me because it does have Brendan Fletcher in it, which is like as Canadian
I love him.
It gets for me. Big shout out to Freddy vs. Jason for that one.
And Catherine Isabel.
Yeah.
Yeah, Catherine Isabel. But yeah, Brendan, I feel like he just pops up in like random things. Like, I feel like he's been in like a Scream movie we've talked about.
Has.
And
we talk about him all the time. Like, I'm pretty sure we've talked about him several times. We geek out over him like every time.
Just always
I just
that
love
guy.
Him. Yeah,
just the best that guy there is.
Like, I just love how we're just like going over about like how like Canadian films and actors are so great and stuff. Like, the director of this is still working in the Canadian film and television industry. It makes me wonder if Colton couldn't be on this because of a work conflict, because like this director has done a lot of episodes of like Newfoundland television series.
What?
Lately.
Oh really?
Yeah,
are you gonna say Land and Sea?
He's done many episodes of Hudson and Rex. So you know.
That is
I had to Google this
wild. Wild.
Yeah, he you know, we love the Canadian film industry.
Yeah.
Maybe Colton, when the credits rolled, was like, "Oh no, hell no, I can't do this."
Like, I know this guy.
We have beef. We have beef.
So I did have a question. I was curious. Talking about the actual werewolves. And this is for like anybody just shout out your answer. Like, do you like the if you compare the werewolves in this, where like they were definitely like kind of more primal in this, more animalistic, like they're more like just werewolves in the wild, right? Like, did you prefer them in this compared to like the other two? Because I mean, they definitely look far different than the ones in the first one. Because I remember I was commenting in the first one, they were kind of white. Like they kind of, it was almost like some
gray.
weird gray alien skin looking thing. And was Nicotero involved? I can't remember. Was he on the first one too? I did see Nicotero's name in the credits of this one.
What?
So he's not the main special effects person, but I did see his name in this. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. I'm one of those crazy people that I was still watching as the credits rolled on the TV.
I did not see that anywhere.
Yeah. He worked on the special effects in this.
Yeah.
And on Ginger Snaps
And
too.
two. I just saw that.
Just not one. Okay.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I couldn't remember if he was involved in all of them or not. But I mean, they look different. So I was just curious, like, did you not really care? Did you have a preference in it? Like I said, I do like them from the first one, but I did kind of like them in this. And, you know, is it mean that I like them because I thought they walked goofy? Maybe, but it was endearing to me. I thought it was cool. I thought it was funny. Yeah, what did you guys think?
Listen, I love... Something just tickles me about the way in all of these movies, it's just a person in a suit. I love that so much. I love that you can like see their legs, like it looks like a person in a suit. I love practical effects. This just like does it for me. I'm tickled. I love it. They're a little bit different looking, like they're darker colored here, like you said. And even like when Ginger turns at the end of this one, it is similar, like kind of a throwback to like how she's turning in the first one. But in the first one, there's a lot more texture on her face and on her skin. And here it's like kind of like she has like a beauty filter on, you know what I mean? But they do a lot of the same stuff like in her transformation. But yeah, the werewolves are very different. But I like what they do with all of them because the effects are just great.
They almost seemed a bit more human in this one. I don't know why.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
One thing that I really like about Ginger's transformation in this is it's so focused on her eyes and then the nails. So like we get these close-up shots of her with like these talons that are just like pitch black. Like in the very end of the movie, like when she's like comforting her sister as like the fort is on fire, and we get like this close-up detail of like her body in the midst of transformation, and I really love that. But as far as the werewolves are concerned, I don't have a huge preference between this or those. I like all of them. If they were bad, I would say that they were bad, but like I like these werewolves, you know.
I thought Ginger's makeup, especially like kind of the, I don't know what you would call it, like crowning or whatever, like on her forehead and stuff, it just really reminded me of just like late 80s, 90s vampire television shows, like
Buffy.
Like Buffy, and there was another one, I can't remember what it was called. I feel like it was called like Night Tale, or like I can't remember. Forever Night, that's what it was, from the 80s. That was like, you know, I don't know, it was like a detective vampire or something. It was like a vampire show mixed with a neo-noir show. But yeah, that's all I could think of. It's just because, like, you know, like, obviously TV, it's like a little cheaper, and it's just like, I was like, oh yeah, it looks like everyone that turns into a vampire just has like the thing on their forehead.
Oh yeah.
It's like we kind of stole this from Star Trek and Klingons, but we just didn't go all the way. It's just the forehead.
Yeah.
Listen, whenever I can somehow shove Star Trek in there, I'm gonna do it, okay, guys?
Yeah.
So
As you should.
Another thing I wish they kind of used more, because I think it's such... The thing I do really like about using the fort, and we kind of brought it up a little bit briefly earlier, is I do like the idea of, like, kind of this... the thing going on, like this like isolation, paranoia, everybody kind of hating each other, they're in this small space fighting, and this was stuff I kind of like you said, Willow, that maybe if it did have a bigger budget and could have went like a little bit of longer length, I don't even know necessarily it needed more people, but it's just you could have got more into the paranoia of everybody and what's going on, especially because I thought there was like threads of things that could really work if they were expanded, like that company that's supposed to show up and bring supplies, and I was like, oh, if they could have like pulled at this more. And if I recall right, they said it was like one of them was one of the guys guy's brothers that was there. And so I was just like, oh yeah, like if they had longer time to really play into all this paranoia and isolation, because it is such a good isolated setting, shout out to Canada in winter. I was just like, yeah, this could be really fun.
I agree with that.
I do too. They have this whole thing in this which they gesture towards a little bit, but didn't like go like fully into it in like this big expressive kind of way in a movie like The Thing obviously does. But they talk about people being infected.
Yeah.
And the infection that they're referring to is the werewolf infection, obviously. But they also like keep bringing up the fact that they're treating this infection with leeches, which is only making people worse. And I think that if this were a true body horror film, if it had like delved into those elements of genre a bit more, we probably would have had moments where like there had been a contamination that mixed the leeches with the ongoing transformation into a werewolf, but we don't really get that too much. It's just gestured towards a little bit. Like we have that scene where he's like cutting the leeches up and stuff, but like that's about as far as it goes. I don't think it's necessarily a big problem because the movie isn't trying to do body horror so much. What it's trying to do is like, we've mentioned the gothic thing a lot, but like the other thing that it's doing is it's trying to evoke kind of like a Western feeling. When I was talking about this movie with Trevor while we were watching it, Trevor's my husband, we've mentioned him a couple times in this, we talked about how the Western genre doesn't really exist in Canadian cinema. What it exists as is kind of these more paranoid, snowbound movies about potentially being trapped out and having to deal with the elements. And I think that element of this movie is more so what the filmmakers were getting into here rather than the actual horror itself. I think this is kind of like a three-way split, honestly, between horror, gothic elements, and Western elements. And I think that the Western elements are the strangest part of this movie. I personally like Westerns a lot. I feel very comfortable as a viewer within those spaces. And I think that the way that they get into that is interesting. But I do think that if you're looking at this and wanting more body horror to go with the kind of evocations of The Thing, which the movie is getting at occasionally, you probably will be a little bit disappointed.
Can I say that I was a little bit, speaking of kind of gesturing towards other genres, and The Thing, and this kind of makes me think of sci-fi themes, but also of Westerns. One thing that I did obviously very much enjoy this movie, but one thing that I thought it lacked that it really should have included would have been a scene, and it started gesturing towards this and then sort of didn't have that standoff feel that the other film should have, or did, sorry. And I was watching it, and the scene when Brendan Fletcher has the leech, I all I could think about was one of the key scenes in one of my favorite films, The Faculty, where they all decide, there's this thing that will out you as the other, right? As infected, as an alien. And they have the same mechanism in this Ginger Snaps film with the leech. So I thought it would have been really cool if they, had everybody in the room and it's like, okay, everybody's got to do a leech now, and have this kind of standoff moment where it's like, oh my God, who's it going to be? And, it was a will he or won't he or is he or isn't he with that one character. But I thought it would have had a little bit more punch if they had somehow found a way to have a scene where everybody had to do the leech.
Mm-hmm. Do the leech.
Yeah, do the leech. Be one of the crowd, right? I don't know. It's sometimes I'm like, oh, I wish, that was just such a good moment in The Faculty. And I'm not saying have it, just copy that scene, but something kind of similar to that where, because there's stuff like that in The Thing too. It's just a little more of a gesture towards a mass event like that would have.
There's a scene like that in Sinners, which you watched.
Yes, exactly.
I feel like this is all just really pushing for me, for my next pick, just to really, you guys are gonna make me pick Leeches from 2003.
Oh my God.
Oh, okay.
So
Of course, you have a DVD called Leeches.
Of course I
Like,
do,
You have,
but
you have everything else.
I did want to talk about Leeches because actually what I wish they had to lean more in on, because it was one of my favorite scenes, was when they use the leeches to test Finn, like before they kill him, and the leech sucks his blood, and then the leech like grows huge and it's got like fur on it and stuff. Because I'm not gonna lie, you know, the trash monster movie guy in me, I was like, holy shit, are we gonna get werewolf leeches? Like, this is gonna be insane. And I honestly, even though we didn't, it was a little disappointing. I thought the leeches were cool. I thought it was like a cool thing to test people with. Also, exactly why, like, you know, I don't put anything in a lake with leeches. It's just not happening.
Yeah, leeches are disgusting. That's one of the parts of the movie that, like, I remember. Like, I haven't seen this in, like, years and years, but I always remember the leeches.
They're gross. Like, they had actual real leeches, too. Like, this wasn't, like, just, like, some artificial thing. Like, they were dealing with real leeches the entire movie. On the commentary track, he said, but they were vegetarian leeches, though. They didn't feast on blood, so that's how they got away with it. Yeah, there are apparently a lot of leeches which don't actually like drink blood, which was news to me. If that commentary track is true, you know, I learned something today when I watched that.
Interesting. It's like vegan leeches. PETA's fucking pet slimy thing of the week. You can be like these leeches.
So did you guys have any other notes to hit?
I just want to mention one other thing. I really like the cinematography in this. When I mentioned previously that I thought that there were elements about this that were better than the previous two films, I think that where I stand on that, and the only place where I feel that that is true, is in the cinematography. I think that the cinematography in this is excellent. I think that it's beautiful. I think that it has a great aesthetic feel for the place. I think that it has a very wintry feel, which I think is great to watch this time of year when it's still fucking snowing in St. John's. And I think that it creates such a vibe. I think that this movie contains the most beautiful image in any Ginger Snaps movie. When Bridget is having her vision and she sees her kneeling over Ginger's body after she has killed her, and we have snow falling down on top of them, and it's so beautiful and it's so tragic and it's very gothic. I've said gothic a million times in this, but the movie is so gothic, and I love it in the same way that I love a lot of old 70s and 80s gothic films about like phantom women and
lesbian vampires.
Like the feel of this movie at its best gives me the same feeling as like a Daughters of Darkness or something.
Yeah. Oh.
Now this movie is not as good as that movie.
No.
But I think that when it gets there, when it reaches its highest points, like in like the sequences when like Bridget is having visions and stuff, I think that it becomes really beautiful and really expressive in a way that I think that they totally nail and totally get for what they're going for. Like this idea of like a gothic Ginger Snaps, I think that it totally coheres in those moments, and I think it's fantastic. I love the cinematography in this. Like I kept thinking while watching it, like I wish this had been released on something other than DVD. Like the last time it was released was DVD. I don't believe it has a Blu-ray. My DVD is ancient at this point. So it's from like 2005 or 6 or something, and you know, it would be great if it did get a Blu-ray. It's probably not getting a 4K because like the other two movies don't even have 4Ks. But like someone should get on that. There should be like a Ginger Snaps Renaissance because these movies are good. They're very, very important to I think horror cinema of the aughts, and I think that they're very, very important to Canadian cinema in general. Like people our age, like Ginger Snaps is our movie, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the one that we gravitate to.
I just want to say there are some beautiful shots of the fort that like just made my hair stand on end.
Yeah, even the last shot of the film with the two of them cradling each other with the fort on fire in the background is fantastic.
I think Australia, I was going to say, is the only one that has a Blu-ray, right? I believe.
That's so weird.
Because I think Umbrella put out a box set, a Ginger Snaps box set, just like last year. And they were all Blu-ray.
Yeah, Umbrella is doing great work. I wish that their stuff was easier to get over here.
Yeah, but someone North American, because if you're like me, I hate, I just have a hatred for the rating system on the cover. So I just refuse to open myself up to international things. Just a nationalist when it comes to my physical media, I guess.
Careful with that word.
You're such a physical media aesthetic queen, Rowan.
Yeah, I
like
know,
you're the
right?
only person I know who has rules for physical media.
That's right. You gotta have rules. Well, with that, why don't we land the plane and get in the rating this? So if you're new to our podcast, our rating system is nay, okay, yay, or slay. Willow, you're the guest. So what would you rate 2004's Ginger Snaps Back to the Beginning? Or as Rowan will make sure it's renamed, Ginger Snaps 3.
So, Ginger Snaps Back to the Beginning is a yay for me. If you had asked me in 2006, I would have probably said it's an okay, because I think a lot of the stuff went over my head when I watched it when I was a teenager. And I definitely preferred the first two movies when I was that age. And now I don't have like a super strong preference between 2 and 3. I think that they're both about equal. And Ginger Snaps 1 is always like my forever favorite. That's one of like that movie and like May were like the two movies that I watched all the time when I was a teenager. They're like important to like my sense of self. Like it'll never unseat Ginger Snaps 1 is my favorite in the series, but I do like this movie a lot. I love the aesthetic of it. I love the cinematography. I love seeing the Fitzgerald sisters. I love their bad fucking wigs, and I just I love spending time with them. If there was a Ginger Snaps 4, I would probably like that. If there's a Ginger Snaps 5, I would probably like that too. My heart is full for these movies. I like these movies. When I asked Karen Walton what she thought about the sequel films, because she had no, she didn't work on 2 or 3. And she said that she was just very glad that the story of these two sisters who loved each other so much could inspire someone to keep making stories about them that weren't her stories, but how they wanted to like work in the mode of their care for each other. And I thought that was great. I think that even if this movie is a bit incoherent, I think that the seed of the sisters still caring about each other carries it through. I really like this movie. It's going to be a yay for me. Jill, you picked the movie. Where do you land on this?
I think very similar to you. If you would have asked me back when I was a teenager what I would have thought about it, it probably would have been an okay for me as well. It was just like, okay, I'll watch it a couple of times, but the other two are like my bread and butter. I think this rewatch, I really appreciated a lot of things more, like, talking about the metaphors, like the metaphor here of like colonialization and like disease and then this curse, and it's kind of a nonsensical prequel at times, but I don't care too much. Like, I still want Ginger and Bridget to be Ginger and Bridget. I don't care what year it is, and I'm glad that they're kind of the same, right? There's still a little bit of comedy in there. I love the costumes. Also, Bridget got a glow up in this movie. I didn't talk about that, but she like her hair, like she looks really good in this one, and there's some really great scenes of her in her visions where everything is white. She's all in white and she has that like blood on her eyes. I think that's pretty iconic. Yeah.
I love the gowns in this.
Yes,
you mentioned the costumes. I love the gowns. The gowns are fantastic.
Gothic nightgowns. Yes. Yeah, I didn't really think about the gothic feel too much until you mentioned it, but now that you mention that, I am on board. And I think it's a very unique movie with the setting tied into Canadian history. I'm glad that Brendan Fletcher is in here. What else? I think that's about it. So yeah, it's a yay from me as well. It's not quite up there with 1 and 2 for me. Those are really important movies to me, but this one, I think I need to revisit it again sometime in the next couple of years because I think I'll appreciate it even more. Mike, how do you rate Ginger Snaps Back, the beginning?
Oh my God, we're triplets. I'm going to give this a yay. And just like both of you, when I was younger, when it first came out, it was definitely my least favorite of the three. I was much younger. I don't think I appreciated the subtleties of it as much. And it's certainly, no matter how you slice it, obviously a less accessible film for many reasons than the other two. It's a period piece. The metaphor is being stretched and kind of pulled and adapted in other directions other than just sort of like, the more straightforward uses of it in the first two. And I was never a fan, especially when I was younger, of like period pieces. I was just like, oh my God, this is so dry and dusty. But, Willow made a point, obviously, it's not dry and dusty, it's gothic. There are so many cute little anachronisms that still kind of like hook you and pull you back to like that feeling you get when you're watching the first one and you're like, yeah, these are the Fitzgerald sisters. The trappings, pardon the use of that word, are different, but these are the same girls, and they slip every now and then into like 2000s speak, and then moments later we'll be speaking like, oh yes, governor, and I fucking loved it. I was like, this is so funny. I probably like, when I saw it as a younger person, thought like, oh my God, this is so inconsistent. And is it?
Would you say the inconsistencies are camp?
Oh, 100%. That's the thing. Yeah. And I did not appreciate it in that way then. And upon this rewatching, I was like, oh, there's so much camp to this. And that is definitely one of them. I literally even wrote that down, like the language swap. Like fucking loving it. I'm could eat this up with a spoon. I mean, like, it's a perfect movie? No, of course not. And I understand why, the sort of consensus amongst a lot of people is to grade this one as the least of the sequels, the third of the series. And like, I get it, but I think that there is a lot going on here, and this rewatch, especially because Willow sent me her friend's review of this, which did compare to like Genre-La and just all these other European horror films, and I was like, I do see that lineage, and when I was watching it, it did remind me a lot more of like Westerns. I mean, obviously, when I first saw it, I was like, oh, this is just like Ginger Snaps is Ravenous, which obviously Ravenous was definitely an influence on this, but, this rewatch, I was like, no, it's actually... There are a lot of influences, European movies, but also Night of the Living Dead, Assault on Precinct 13, all sorts of Westerns, The Thing. There's just so much going on here. I feel like, again, it doesn't have the budget or the resources or the length to really, really like chew on all this stuff, but I really appreciate that there is a lot of this spice in the soup. You know what I mean? Like, this pie is baking and it's going to be delicious. So yeah, I think it's a yay. I mean, I would have given it an okay back when I first saw it, but I really appreciate it. It's really sitting well with me on this rewatch, and I do appreciate it as being just as good as the second movie, maybe even better. Like I said, it's less accessible, so I feel like you kind of have to open your mind a little bit more to it. Ro, what say you?
Yeah, so with this one, it's probably my least favorite of the three. I had to go back, see what I rated to. I couldn't remember what I gave it. And I'll be honest, I probably would now that I've seen this and reevaluate the ratings, I probably actually would have bumped 2 up higher. It was kind of weird. I went and looked. I was the lowest on 2. Like, I think Colton, Gill, and Mike, you guys all gave it a yay, and I gave it an okay. But as I've times passed, I more fond of 2, I think, maybe than I was in the time. Like I said, I had my issues with this where the pacing for me wasn't great. I hate period pieces. I thought the story was thin in spots, and stuff that I was interested about in the story kind of didn't take center stage, or they didn't explore enough for me. I did like the werewolf design. I don't necessarily think I like it better than the other ones, but that's how the cookie crumbles. I'm not giving it a unanimous yay. I have an okay written for it. That's probably as high as I would go. I can't even confidently say I'd revisit this one again. I'm pretty cool with 1 and 2. And like I said, I think now looking back at it too, I probably would have went a yay with also. There's no way. I didn't look. I didn't want to go that far back, but I'm sure I gave the original Ginger Snaps a slay because that's like one of my faves. So, I feel like slay, yay, okay. Like, I don't think this is nay territory. I think there is, if someone was watching this and I was there, I wouldn't be like, I wouldn't pick up their DVD player and throw it or something on the ground. But yeah, no, I'm just going to land with an okay. So 3 yays and an okay for Ginger Snaps Back the Beginning, aka Ginger Snaps 3. And so we told you what we thought, and then we asked you what you thought, and we did get some answers. So on Slasher, we had Kolobos 51 write in, and they said, it was great. Ginger Snaps is the most unappreciated trilogy of all time. I think we're all kind of there with you. Canadian pride over here, so
we've talked about how it needs to have a Blu-ray release of the box set. If that's underappreciated, if that's not underappreciated, I don't know what is.
Yeah, what are you gonna put above this, Lord of the Rings or something?
Oh my God.
Come on, get real. And then we had L.A. Frankenstein write in and said, this will get rediscovered by the zeitgeist in about 6 months, as it shows up on everyone's what you should watch if you loved Eggers Werewolf lists.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I dig it, and I think it's a pretty great werewolf movie that deserves more attention. That said, I'll also cringe at the first post I see after Eggers Werewolves that people are claiming Ginger is their whole personality.
You know what's worse than making Ginger your whole personality? Making Robert Eggers your whole personality.
Oh.
Agree.
I hate to be salty, but come on.
Yeah.
We have two people here who made Ginger their entire personality. So
yeah,
literally.
It's us.
Yeah.
And then over on Facebook, we had James write in and say, it is an okay for me. I have not seen this movie for almost 20 years, though. So maybe revisit it. 3 people here gave it a yay. So you never know, James. Maybe it'll go up. And then relative of podcast member that doesn't show up, CB Noble wrote in, and they said a fair werewolf movie. So it seems like they thought it was all right.
Mm-hmm.
So you know what? When Colton's back, we'll let him prosecute what that means, what that doesn't mean. And then over on Blue Sky, we had David Dumchuck write in, and he said, yay, pretty close to a slay.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had enemy of the podcast, Trevor, write in. Our fellow Stream Screams host. And he said, I love a Euro horror tinge gothic folk reinterpretation of Ginger Snaps to tell a story about the ills of colonialization. Could have used more scenes of the sisters navigating the snowy woods on their own, less scenes of the men. It's the better of the 2 sequels. A yay. Oh, okay.
Okay, so the real consensus in this podcast is just let's get rid of the men in this movie, and then it's great. Then it's a slay for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Even Ro agrees with that.
I did agree with that. So yeah, I mean there you go. There you go. That'll just be the slogan of our podcast now. Just less men. the podcast that needs less men but has more men. So with that, let's go on over to the horrific hotline where Nicholas left a voicemail, and we'll see what Nicholas has to say.
As a, let's say, decent Christian, there's nothing I'd rather do than start of Good Friday with Ginger Snap 3, which, come to think of it, sounds more ironic than I actually mean it, because I do think that Ginger Snaps 3 is, again, a good movie, and is going to be a yay, but a weak yay. Mostly because I do prefer the first 2 movies way more, as they are just the first one is just iconic, and the second one is so weirdly mean and has so many weird ideas. The third movie, I think I like the setting the most. So it's, again, the same setting that we get in, for example, my favorite movie, which all of you hated for some reason, Ravenous. Or, well, it is, I guess, 200 years after The Witch, but it is this frontier setting, and that makes it just interesting to watch because there aren't very many horror movies set, especially not very many decent horror movies. I do wish that the movie would actually take a bit more time with the different characters, and maybe, well, be a bit more mysterious. However, I'm not sure how you can be more mysterious if it is a prequel, but the third movie in a trilogy. So we already know what's up. We already know about the werewolves, etc., etc. Still, it is an enjoyable movie, if especially compared to the other two movies, very simple movie. So there are a few of the same themes with the two sisters and sisterhood and this transformation, but overall I think it worked better in the first two movies. Still, some decent effects in the movie, and overall a fun watch, which I did not expect on this Friday morning. I'm very interested to hear what especially Colton thinks about the movie, as it is a bit of a departure from the first two, and this is something you could cut for time, but if you do have 2 or 3 minutes to spare, as it is, or as Easter is coming up and as it's the springtime, I started thinking about, do you guys have a favorite spring horror movie? Because for me, it's like winter, you have like the snow horror movies, you have Black Christmas, you have Anna and the Apocalypse, all those different movies centered around Christmas, or movies that take place in the snow, Dead Snow, Cold Prey, and so on. The Shining, of course. For summer, you have the blockbusters. You have your Jaws or your Friday the 13th, or you have those really sweaty, you can feel the heat movies, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Hills Have Eyes, and so on. For autumn, or everything around Halloween. But is there a spring horror movie that you would recommend? Anyways, going far too long by now, sorry for that. Happy Easter if you celebrate. If not, enjoy the hopefully 3 days that you got. And I am very happy that after the Leprechaun disaster, we now have a second good movie that I really like.
Ooh.
Yay.
Midsummer, first of all. And we did The Wicker Man a couple years ago.
Oh my God, Wicker Man is definitely my spring.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I was gonna say The Wicker Man. That's definitely the one for me too.
Yeah,
and as a May baby, Wicker Man is yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say
100%.
Gill said it. Midsummer for me is probably the first go-to, and Wicker Man's fantastic. Jeez, yeah, I really have to think about that because he's right. I'm always thinking it's the Canadian in us, just always snowing. So we're like, what are the winter horrors? And I'm never thinking about spring, and I've got all my fall, no spring.
There's a lot of folk horror movies that use the template of the Wicker Man of killing someone as a sacrifice to bring forth the crops. There's a lot of movies in that mode. The folk horror movie Eyes of Fire is that. Robin Redbreast is like that. So I would recommend those in addition to The Wicker Man if you're looking for a spring horror movie. All of those are available in Severin's folk horror box set. It's a great box set. I would recommend anyone buying it if you have $250 to spare. That's a high price, but there's 30 movies in it, so it levels out. It's super worth it. It's great.
And when we say Wicker Man, we're all obviously suggesting the Nicolas Cage one for everybody. So
hell nah.
Yeah, make sure you watch that.
I'm gonna throw you into traffic,
Rowan. Nah.
So if you want to give us a call and leave us a message, just like our horror hound Nicholas, you can do so by emailing it at itslayspodcast@gmail.com. Or you can just send us a voice note anyway, social media, anything like that. Just somehow get us a recording of your voice and we will make sure we play it. It doesn't have to be about the movie we're talking about. It could be a movie. You might be listening to an episode from a year ago. You could send in a voicemail for whatever episode you're on, or if you just want to ask us a random question, or if you're still curious about where those feet pics of Mike's are, just call in and we'll let you know all the updates. And if you're not doing so, you can follow us on any social media at It Slays Podcast. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr, Bluesky, Letterboxd, Threads, TikTok, Slasher. Basically, if there's a social media, we're there at It Slays Podcast. And Jill, why don't you tell these lovely people how they can become horror hounds?
I mean, a horror hound is basically a werewolf, right? So,
That's right.
Very on topic today. So if you would like to join the ranks of our horror hounds like Holly, Nicholas, Sacrotype, Dan, Brian, Trevor, James, Philip, and James, head on over to Patreon/It's Podcast and check out the tier that works best for you. Benefits include early access to our episodes and access to our Patreon exclusive show, Stream Screams. Not really any music, I don't think you can really add to our spooky, horrific playlists.
Not really a music-heavy movie, or not necessarily a great, iconic score that's memorable. But you can see what we add to the playlist at the It Slays Podcast Horrific playlist on Spotify. If you have any problems finding it, you can go to any of the social media that I mentioned just earlier. Go into the bio, click the Linktree link, and there's a button that'll take you directly there. We upload scores or licensed music from iconic horror movies we review, or just horror movies we love. So follow it. Like I said, we update it regularly and get your spooky music on, because why the hell not? So there's a little switcheroo. We have to announce the next episode. It's supposed to be Colton's pick. Colton didn't have an idea what he wanted to pick. It was my pick next, so we said, let's switch it up. So it is my turn, and I've had something. It's time. It's been a long time coming.
Oh my God.
We're talking about spring, fall, changes of the season. And what do people like to do once it becomes spring? People like to walk. They like to get out in the woods. And you know what? I think we need to do that. Hopefully if we give Jill a map, she knows how to read it. We don't get lost. We're doing the original Blair Witch Project. That is my pick.
Oh my God. Okay.
So yeah. Blair Witch Project. Get in your eye holes. Willow, you got anything to promote before we get out of here?
I do. I wrote a book called Corpses, Fools, and Monsters, The History and Future of Transness in Cinema, which you can purchase wherever you get your books. But I've also been working a lot in physical media lately, and a lot of the discs that I've been working on lately are horror movies. So if any of you fine listeners want to pick up any of those discs, they include the In the Mouth of Madness 4K from Arrow, The House with the Laughing Windows 4K from Arrow, the French New Extremity box set from Umbrella, which we just mentioned a little while ago. Beautiful, beautiful Umbrella. I've got some other things within the horror genre that I'm working on through physical media that I cannot announce yet, but it's just a lot of exciting stuff going forward. If you have the Criterion channel, I recently programmed a series of movies on the Criterion channel highlighting trans filmmakers. It's called Tramps, Troublemakers, and Trailblazers, Trans Directors. And there's a lot of good stuff in there. I don't know if there's anything specifically like horror that is among that group, but there are trans people making horror movies. We talked about Alice Mel McKay. You can watch all of her stuff on Shudder. I would definitely recommend watching her movies. They're super fun. They're like 70 minutes long. They're just full of the coolest Gen Z people you could ever imagine. And
can I just say that one of her films on Shudder has the best name I've ever seen? Satanic Panic.
Yep, that's how you know. That's how you know you're watching a banger.
Yeah,
it's great. So that's about it for me. I hope that you enjoyed having me on the podcast. It's always fun for me to talk about movies with y'all, and I hope that I'm not like annoying or anything with like my bitchiness and like my high-minded opinion of my own opinion on films and
stop
stuff.
it. We wouldn't say that to
We
your
love
face.
having
Jeez.
And thanks for coming on and
Yeah.
continuing.
It's
our
always a
tradition
pleasure.
of Ginger Snaps. It's been lovely.
Yeah, it has been. Like, I love talking about these movies.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, as I said, get your eye holes on the Blair Witch Project. We'll be back in 2 weeks. I'm sure there'll be some Now Slayings coming out. We had a little break this week, so that was fantastic. As always, thank you for all the support. I'm your humble host, Rowan.
Bye, it's Mike.
Bye, it's Jill.
See you guys hopefully during Pride Month.
See you later.